Did I fix it? I think it might be fixed now. We reset the router, and if that doesn't work, then we're cooked. Let me just do this again one more time. Take two. I am curious though, because I tried to fix it. If my commands aren't working here, then thank you for the posture check. Lord knows I need it. Let's see if this works now. I guess not. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Streamlabs. Very cool. So I'll have to check on that. But if anyone does the Discord command, I'll just put it in myself. Take two. We're good. But now, you know, actually, if you think about it, I was technically supposed to start stream at 4. And I started stream at like 3:55. So we're kind of still on schedule, if you think about it. But that being said, let's just get right back into the game. And we'll see. Actually, yeah, because I think my blue sky was working. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there with my commands. Maybe it's something with Streamlabs, but we're not going to worry about it right now. So, let's get back to the game. So, I have some very, very cool news. So, as some of you may have remembered from last time that we played Skyrim, I wanted to get a bunch of my OCs imported, and I couldn't do that. And there were a few that were missing, but I got a bunch of them in. So, I'm
glad you're here.
Look at her! Isn't she beautiful? I love her so much. I love Vanya's new design so much. I mean, it's not really a new design. I kind of just like made her. Let me make the game a little bit louder because it's really quiet right now. There we go. Let me know if that's too loud. But I think she looks really pretty. So now we are not playing as Vanya, but we have Vanya as a follower. We did get Fuldra last stream. We also have Severin back, which is very fun. So we will bring him, and of course, where's my man? My man. Where is he? My man!
Yes.
My man! And we have Jasper imported. So today, however, so like, what ended up happening is I think something about Whitehearth just fucked me up, like, royally. Like, and someone actually mentioned in the VOD for this stream, or for, I think not this stream, maybe the return stream, I don't remember. Someone mentioned that, there was a lot of, like, frame chugging and stuff, and I thought I had it set up to max my FPS at... Did someone just sniff me? Did you hear that? Did someone just sniff me? Okay. Anyway. My frames, I thought they were capped to 60. Like, I did everything in Bethany to make sure they were capped to 60. And then I went in the ini files, and it actually was not capped to 60. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But even though I did that, Whitehearth was still massively chugging. So my thought that I ended up having... Oh, wait, do I have this? I do have a torch bug in a jar already. Okay, cool. But my thought that I ended up having was, why don't we just have one player home for all of my old OCs, that are kind of dead in the current project I have, and we'll have another player home for my new OCs. So we will keep them separate, which kind of makes sense in lore, considering almost, I mean, not to get too macabre, but with the current book that I'm writing, everyone here is mostly dead. Not violently. Well, some of that I haven't decided yet, but mostly because of old age. But yes, we are back. I think if it goes down again, then I might just be cooked. Such is the risk I take living in Yeehaw land. But David reset the router, so if it goes down again, it's not my fault. It's David's fault. Okay. Can someone tell me though? Does it have the little Discord thing on like Twitch? Like, does it have a link to that? Is that working, or is it just my commands aren't working? I don't know. But anyway, what I thought we would do today is last time we had Fuldra, our lovely assassin hag, and we also had Nerixi, our human bomb. Well, he's not a human; he's an elf, but our bomb of a man who kept exploding me on accident. And he is also, this fucking room is filthy, I guess. Everybody's sweeping. So my thought was, I was also going back and was watching some of the VOD from my first, like, return stream back. And I was thinking about how, you know, okay, hold on, don't look at that. watching the VOD back of the of my return stream where I tried to explain everything about my new OCs, and I think I just got too excited because I was looking back at it and I was like, damn bitch, you are incomprehensible. Your ass is making no sense. And I was like, yeah, that's... So I figured what we would do today is for our quest is we will only bring along Alex, my OC, who is Callan's doctor and his boy toy. So that way maybe my yap would be a little... I mean, the yap is never fully coherent, but that way the yap could be like slightly more coherent than usual, you know? So hopefully, but we are in Real Falls. Very, very pretty player home. It's kind of like a little bit of a village. It's gonna be, so I'm hoping we can keep my old OCs here. And then I don't know what player home we're gonna use for my new OCs. Oh, hello, sir. Hello. Because there are less of them. I think we only have Callan, Alex, Taliesin, and Leona. So it'll probably be a smaller one, but it's very pretty. I like it a lot. I like the glowing flowers. It's kind of like, we've got like a stable and everything. So I guess I could just take a horse. Sophia, Bella. Oh, I didn't really say all had names. That's so cute. I know that I also have my followers enabled to ride horses too. So I don't know exactly how that works, but I'll be honest, I'm low-key. Oh, there's so many horsies. And there's a dog. Okay. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of afraid to try because I'm afraid. Oh. Okay, I'm afraid the game's gonna crash, but I do think it has been a little bit more stable since I've been playing it. So last time, if I recall correctly, I don't know who the hell that guy is, by the way. If I recall correctly, last time what we had done is we'd finished, not the main quest entirely, but we finished the Thalmor embassy. We went in, I rizzed up the Thalmor, and by rizzed, I mean shot them to death. And then the game crashed right as I finished the quest, like turning it into Delphine. So hopefully, what is this? I haven't been in here. Oh yeah, this is like a little apothecary. Let's actually check it out because I don't remember what this looks like. But I did go back in and I did complete the quest, and now I'm like, I know we had some Dark Brotherhood stuff we wanted to do, but like I said, I wanted to focus on just the boys for a bit. And I start blasting. So these, it's just gonna be me and Pookie today. So let me take my helmet off. Well, actually, no. I need to put my helmet back on because my helmet gives me good prices. But let's see. Oh no, I have a bee in the jar. Wait, do I have all these jar things? Can I take that? Thanks, man. Okay, none of this I need. I'm also hungry. Do I have food right now? I should. What is going on in the background there? Let's see. Seared slaughterfish. Yay! Okay, I am well fed. Let's see if there's anything I can sell to her. Oh.
Ah, so you're an alchemist then?
Not really, but it's okay. Okay, we'll grab ultimate healing potion. That's really all I want. Do I have anything I want to sell? I don't need these eggs. The eggs are cute, but I really don't need them. So we're just gonna get rid of them. So, okay. I just wanted to see what was in here. But the whole aesthetic of this player home is very, very cute. Oh, there's a bunny. Hello, sir. Okay, let's head out. But basically, what I put in my server, so there's a few things I put in my server. One of them is just like if you want like pings for streams, because I know a lot of people, sometimes Twitch notifications are really iffy. So if you literally just want stream pings, you can sign up for just stream pings. That is totally valid. And to use the emotes if you have a sub. But the other thing I put in there, wait, whoa. What are you? Whoa, there's two of you. That's cool as shit. I don't know what you are, but I'm into it. Okay, we should probably sleep actually because it's dark and traveling at night is never a good idea. I don't know what's here either. Like there's, wait, the lake house? Can I break into this? Can I steal this? I want to see who lives here. I want to live here. This is mine. I mean, it's a player home. I'm the player. Mine. Ignore the lock picking. But I have some places to post like writing snippets and snips from the book. And I also have 2 art channels, one of them for SFW art and one of them for NSFW art. Yay. And I think I made another one too. Oh yeah, so as I mentioned on my YouTube community page, anytime I'm not gonna stream, because I've talked about before how my streams are kind of sporadic these days. I thought that every week that I don't stream, I will do like a little blog post. I thought that could be really cute. So you can get pings for those too. So it's very simple, nothing too crazy. But I thought it could be kind of fun, you know. But let me see. What's going on in here? Can we sleep in here? I also I want to rob all their bookshelves just to see if there's anything for like the museum that we don't have, because I am a slut for thievery. Well, it's thievery in the name of academia, so it should be. Oh my god! Wait, whoa! Whoa! What happened here? Yo! Yo! There's so much gold, it's glitching out. There's a spoon. That's not related. I mean, don't mind if I fucking do. Oh, there's nothing in here. That's okay. Give me the gold. Yeah, give me. Oh, whoopsie. Oh god, it's the pile of gold glitching out is so good. Okay, gold. I didn't need the drummer urn. What happened here? Who is this? Who lived here? We're fucking, I mean, we were already pretty rich, but now we're like extra rich. How much money do I have? He's crouching. You can't see it because my big old head's in the way, but we have 47k, which is awesome. We can buy all of Skyrim. I don't think that's how that works. Let me get it. There we go. Another one. Well, I'm really glad I broke into this house. What are you? Aren't you glad we broke into this house? Something I did find in NFF, by the way, Nether's follower framework, for those who do not know. Very, very good follower mod. Ooh, what's this? Elven boots of frost suppression. Okay, that's fine. But something I found out was you can actually set it so that followers will, they may not like your, ooh, that's an artifact. They, if you go to, like, if you go to do, like, lock picking, like, breaking and entering, or, like, thievery, or, pickpocketing, there's a chance they can disapprove of it, and they just won't do it. And I think that, Alex, our doctor over here, I think he would disapprove of it. But this is Skyrim, so I'm making him do it anyway. I could buy up all the cheese. We will check in on the cheese collection at some point today. Right. So, let me, god, there's so much. I'm gonna have to check what our final number is, all this. This is crazy. But I thought today, I wanted to keep it kind of simple, because I want to do kind of more chill stream today. I mean, last week was kind of chill. Okay, no, it wasn't. Last week wasn't chill at all. I was drawing naked men. Well, like, what do you expect from me? I do want to draw naked women at some point. I've talked about this, though. I need to get better at drawing tits, but we may do a poll in the Discord of, like, which OC do we lewd first? Because there's a lot of good options. Like, we have, like, flat justice, like, if we go for Vanya, but we can also have, like, big booty Latinas if we go with Faldra. Like, there's a lot of options, you know? So, we may do, once I get comfortable, like, drawing something that I would, like, want to post, I guess, because I'll probably do a few, like, practice drawings and stuff. We'll probably do a poll in the Discord of who's getting looted first. And genuinely, like, I joke, though, but I honestly feel like drawing lewd stuff has actually helped me a lot in terms of understanding anatomy and whatnot. Oh my god, it's 2 a.m. Okay, is there anything else I need to steal? This cheese I already have. I don't need to steal, I'm not evil. I'm not gonna steal cheese I already have. Let me see. Is there anything, like, is there downstairs or anything like that? It's really cute. Like, I like it a lot. Okay, it looks like that's it. It's pretty tiny. So maybe this will be where me and Pookie live. So let's sleep, and then we will yap. But one of the things I noticed when I was watching back my VOD, because I was debating if I wanted to, like, clip it and, like, post it on, like, my author YouTube channel that doesn't really exist yet, but we're working on it, was I was debating if I wanted to trim down the VOD and post it, like, oh yeah, this is me talking about my book, the characters, the plot, and then I realized, almost half of everything I said was fucking incomprehensible. So that's why I was like, you know what, we'll do a chill stream today, and we'll talk more about my new OCs that did not get that did not exist when I was streaming before regularly. Now I am wondering, pheasant breast, is there any salt? I know there's a way to turn off needing salt for stuff, but like I can never remember how to do it, and it does piss me off. Like, I shouldn't need salt to just like cook some meat and then what? My mouse being weird. What is that? Dwemer and gyro. Oh, gold diamond ring. I want that. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. My mouse just like started like shaking. Like not actually shaking, but like you know what I mean. I can make my own cheese. I forgot that was an option. Okay. What's gonna be the most restore hunger? Probably one of these. And then I forgot we can make dye. How do I dye stuff? I don't know how to do that. We will do the steamed mud crab legs, and we will do clam chowder. Yeah, let's do clam chowder. Seize the means of cheese production. Hell yeah, brother. Okay, cool. I think I accidentally used fire salts for soup, but that's okay. Right. So let me actually. This could be really cute. Hold on. They're so cute. Oh my god. Wait. Hold on. I need to Fujo out. Let me Fujo out for like 2 seconds. They're so cute. Oh my god. Okay, so anyway, let me actually talk about why I'm Fujoing out. No, don't say. Okay, god damn it, he ruined it. I never click like the freeze time thing fast enough when I'm in photo mode. But let me talk about why I'm Fujoing out. So I mentioned in my return stream that the thing I was originally writing was with my OC Vanya, which for those of you who may not have been around when I was streaming in like 2023, 2024, 2025, I think I stopped in like 2024. Vanya was basically, to put it very bluntly, a little autistic girl discovers blood magic and becomes the mother of modern medicine. So actually, let's see where we want to go before I start yapping. I think as we're doing this, I think this would be a good day to do not a lot of super heavy quest stuff, a lot of like little things, you know? So let's actually do Galder Amulet, because I don't think that'll be that bad. And we can do this as we're on our way to see what the fuck's going on over here at the ritual site. We just gotta see if I remember how to get the fuck out of this village. But see, he's got its own like flags and everything too. It's really cute. But I was originally writing something with Vanya, and the plot, essentially, of that book was, basically, she gets whisked away at some point by her, professor, who is a arsonist / war criminal. Well, he's not a war criminal at the time. He's just a war veteran. The war crimes come later. And she gets whisked away from this world where, not world, but country where magic is illegal, right? To go study blood magic that she kind of discovered on accident while trying to heal her girlfriend, who's not actually her girlfriend, but it's complicated, from bleeding to death, essentially, right? So it was one of those things where it's like, looking back on it, it was, how do I phrase this? Everyone says that it's like your first book is not going to be your best one, right? Oh, hi, Hidden, welcome. And I planned like 3 acts for that book, and I wrote about 60,000 words of it, right? So there was like a whole thing with like Vanya, you know, going and meeting Severin. Like it ended right before Vanya and Severin were gonna meet, because Severin's in, you know, that part of the world where magic exists. I really need to work on my world map. This would be like 10 times easier if I had that world map finished. But that I'll post in the Discord once I do finish it. I need to get David to help me with it, because David's really good at making world maps and stuff like that. Let me see, where are we going? Let me figure that out real fast. Okay, so if I'm here, yeah, see how it like yeeted me? I don't know. Your first book is automatically your best one if you only ever write one book. True! Truth nuke. Okay, so that actually put me a lot farther than I thought. Where are we? I just lost my train of thought. Where? Okay, so I'm over here. Okay, in that case, yeah, we can still do Galder Amulet then. We'll do that, right? But it was one of those things where it's like, this is a character I'm very, very passionate about. Don't go in the cave. No. Yeah, that's what I thought. Don't you love having followers in Skyrim? Isn't it fun? Isn't it great? But that was the thing, is at the end of the day, I felt like I got kind of stuck, right? Because I knew what I wanted to happen was for there to be, you know, again, it sounds it was kind of generic fantasy, right? Girl in place where magic is not allowed, goes to a place where she can study magic, accidentally, you know, fumbles across all these big breakthroughs in using, because a lot of times I feel like in media, that was my idea, is a lot of times in media, when you hear blood magic, that immediately has a negative connotation to it, right? Like, think about Dragon Age, right? Dragon Age, blood magic was like the big no-no. Like, if you do drug magic, you're going to like super hell or whatever. Whereas my idea is I wanted to like frame the concept of hemomancy and blood magic as like, this is a tool. This is like a revolution in like medical magic, essentially, right? And Vanya ends up being hailed in the future as like this Mother Teresa type figure, which is hilarious because she's a bitch. I love her, but sometimes she's, because that's also part of it, is the fun part of it is Vanya is canonically, like, it's not even like me being like, you know, oh haha, she's autistic. No, she is canonically written to be autistic. They don't straight up say she's autistic because that doesn't really make sense in like fantasy language. Like, that was my, I don't know, that was my big thing with Dragon Age with like Veilguard, and I didn't play it, but it was like one of those things where it's like I had seen enough, right? And it was one of those things where it's like, you have this fantasy world. I feel like with stuff like that, coming up with different terms is like, well, if you start talking about how you're neurodivergent in Dragon Age, I'm gonna be like, what? Like, I feel like there's so many other like things you could call that. Oh, troll babies. Oh, this is not a good look for me. Can I, there's a vein over there though. Is it cool if I just, ooh, sea iron helmet. That sounds cool. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just gonna mine this real quick. We're all gonna be cool about it. It's only negatively connotated because all the blood magic practitioners did the Omega bad shit. I can't quite remember. It's been a really long time since I played Dragon Age. But I feel like that's like the common, I can't think of any other pieces of media, so I sound probably like a fool. Okay, we're not gonna kill the babies. No, don't go, don't provoke them. Okay, we're good. We're good. And we picked the Nern route because it's pissing me off. Okay, there we go. What direction are we going now? I got distracted. Here we go. Yeah, we will let the troll babies live. That's fine. We're not, don't attack me. If you attack me, then I have to kill you. Oh. No, no. I'm sorry. That's not a good look for me. That is not a good look for me. Okay. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait. I think something's supposed to be here that's not here. Do you see the issue? Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. Are we gonna address that? No. Okay. I'm wondering. I thought the water would load it. Maybe it's a drought. You know, maybe there's a drought or something. Yeah, there should be like a whole ass. Okay, it's kind of coming, but God, the fish looks so fucking funny. Yeah, we're just not gonna worry about that. Blame it on Blue Pikmin. How could he do this to me? Can't believe Blue Pikmin salted my fields and what's the word I'm looking for? And drained my river. Okay, there it is. Okay. We have no river up there, but we have river up here. Okay, that, you know what? Close enough. Fine. What was I talking about? But basically, that was the idea. Is I feel like a lot of times blood magic, and sometimes it's because of things like vampires or whatnot, you know. But I feel like the common trope is it just has that connotation of like evil, right? And I wanted to frame it as like something that could be used for good, right? But it was one of those things where I got really stuck trying to figure out how to, because eventually what was going to also happen is, you know, of course, a big war, you know, battle thing, because it's fantasy, right? Epic fantasy. I feel like that's kind of, you know, a requirement. I don't feel like doing Dark Water Pass right now. Full stop. We're just going to keep going. And it was one of those things where I was having a lot of fun with it. I was enjoying it a lot. Ooh, we gotta be careful. I don't know what's going on over there. We're just gonna slide down the mountain. Shimmy down the mountain. And, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna see real quick. But that was the idea, is I ended up getting stuck around 60,000 words in. And at the time, that was like the longest thing I had ever written in my entire life. I was very, very proud of myself for that 60. Whoa, just that backflip though. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Wait, can I? Wait, hold on. I might be able to survive this actually. No, wait, no, I wasn't ready. Okay. Whee! Oh, he's gonna make it! Oh, fuck yeah. Calculated. My brain, it's massive. Okay. My goat, I knew he wouldn't let me down. I've always believed in him. I knew he wouldn't let me down. We just have to do it again. Okay. Another one, thank you. Whee! Ah, hell yeah. I'm a natural. You thought I was gonna bork that, didn't you? I bet some of you were like, oh, she's gonna fuck it up and it's gonna be funny and we can all point and laugh. Ha 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 ha. Not today, motherfucker. But yeah, I got stuck around 60,000 words in. And, you know, I told the story, you know, during my return stream of how my mentor was like, this is too big for you, right? This is essentially, like, if you were 4 years old trying to, like, ride the fucking, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal, right? You'll fucking die. They'll kill you. Okay, they would kill me. But you know what I mean, right? Like, it was a project that was just, like, wait, what the fuck? Oh no, I worship Daedra. I forgot about that. Sorry. I don't even actually worship Daedra. I'm not even wearing my cool hat right now, by the way. They're really just coming at me for, like, if I'm wearing my hat, you know, like this, where is it? This one, then like, yeah, I get why they're coming for me. I'm not even wearing my hat right now, and they're coming for me. Fucked up. But, oh, another one, thank you. Bonk. Oh, shit. He just exploded. I think... Oh, I didn't realize I had my lightning arrows equipped. I was like, why did he do that? Oh. What? God damn it. God damn it. Okay, we'll just, yeah. Okay, hello, sir. I fucked that up. We're gonna have to just wait for her to land. Okay, that works. Did that hit? I don't think it did. That one did. Okay, there we go.
What was that?
Wasn't this exactly how last stream started, where I was trying to talk about something, and then a fucking I mean, it's Skyrim, I don't know what I expect. Are you just gonna stand there? I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, so I can't really blame him. I really can't. Okay, there we go. I really don't know if it's better to use the lock-on or not. Yeah, I think it's better not to use lock-on in this. Okay, that one hit. Awesome. Okay. But yeah, so I ended up, oh, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I'm just a little boy. Where'd he go? Oh! He's right behind me, isn't he? Okay, we'll wait for him to come back. Alright, I need to focus. I'm locking in. Mentally, I'm locking in. Oh, he landed. Over here. A second ancient dragon is in the EB stream. How could this keep happening to me? Okay, he's over there now. I thought he was... Okay. He's half, though. Like, we should be able to kill him. I'm wondering if there's a better place I can be, though, for this. Okay, there we go. That's kind of better. There we go. And... God damn it. The lock-on doesn't do shit. I need to stop. It's so instinctual for me to use the lock-on, but... Oh, don't. No. Okay, yeah, we're good. I just need to not do it. Okay, he's coming. Oh, he's right in front of me. Okay, there we go. Let's just use the fire arrows. Who cares? Fuck it. There we go. Make him explode! God God, that does no damage. I think I'd do more damage if I was in sneak. Like, even though he absolutely detects me. Okay, maybe the fire arrows aren't the play here. What about the ice arrows, actually? Does he have a weakness to it, maybe? That does a little bit more damage. Not a lot, though. Okay. One more. It's almost there. Let's just go back to regular arrow for the last hit. Bam! Okay, easy peasy. Anyway. Oh, and now I'm hungry. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Taking down a dragon is pretty difficult work, so understandable. Can I have a snack real quick? Can I have a sweet little treat? Can I have yeah, a little sweet treat for murdering an ancient dragon? Yay! Okay. Alright, another dragon soul has been slurped. Oh, awesome. Okay. Do I have any shouts I can use? I'm ethereal, disarm. Disarm could actually be really good. Let's do disarm. Let's do... Kind's Peace I think would be good too. And then throw voice? Fooling those and sneaking out. That one I think would be really good for a stealth character. Then we have one more. Yeah, we'll do become ethereal. But for now, we'll keep our Fusoda. For now, we'll keep the Fusoda. But let's see, where were we going? Because I got turned around. Okay, we need to go back over here. I got so turned around. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Here we go, this way. Okay. But yeah, so with the thing I'm writing right now, right, it's in the same world. But basically, I've had to, like, it's weird because there's some history events I ended up figuring out that I didn't think I would be touching for a really long time. Don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. Actually, if he just does this, this should be fine. Yeah, okay, there we go. And then there's some, like, parts of, like, there's a lot of parts of the world's history right now that have, like, really big gaps in between them, right? Like, I know that, like, the big thing that's mentioned at the beginning of this book is the place where all the nobles in Irilith, where, you know, Vanya, Severin, where they all live, it gets fucking firebombed. Is essentially, people rebel against the nobles, do a little, they get a little French with it, and they blow them up. And something I actually need to figure out is when Vanya dies. She is, like, an important figure in the world's history. I should have brought her along, actually. I didn't think I'd be talking about her this much. You know what, let's, wrong button. Hold up, I can do this. Where's Proteus wheel? We should be able to do this because... Let's see, player, summon. Wait for it to load. Vanya. Aha!
So good to see you again.
Alright, we're talking about you, so why don't you come with us, okay?
Of course.
Thank you. Alright. I have no idea what spells I gave her. I think I have her set as a healer, and I have Alex also says a healer, but Alex knows a few more defensive spells. I had to be really careful, right, just because a lot of, like, the really fun, like, spells that we used in, like, previous playthroughs, especially for, like, blood magic, especially, like, some of the apocalypse, the triumvirate stuff, right, they won't work as well for, followers, right, and they can actually potentially be really game-breaking if you put them on followers, so I think most of my followers have pretty generic spells. Like, let's be honest, they're there for eye candy, right? They're not there for, you know, if I was being lore accurate with them, I would break my fucking game, right? And I think there is a mod for, like, some of those spells for NPCs, like Triumvirate for NPCs, Odin for NPCs. I just haven't downloaded them, and I'll be real, I fucked with the slowed order so much, I'm kind of afraid to fuck with it anymore, TBH, so I just haven't touched it, right? But anyway, but basically, our little lad right here, I say little, he's like 6 feet tall, Callan, who we've been playing as, he is not really connected to Vanya a whole lot. Oh, is that another dragon? What is that? I think that's a bear? Maybe a saber cat? I don't know. Not my business. Oh, it is a bear! It is a bear! It is a bear! Hold on, hold on, hold on. Wait. I can use my new spell. Hold on. Chill out! Yeah, just chill, bro. Yeah, look at him. He's so cute. All right, we're just gonna walk away from the bear. He's chill right now. Don't bother him. We are walking away from the bear. We are walking away from the bear, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, fantastic. Good job. Good job, everyone. Don't. I'm watching. I'm afraid they're gonna start beating the shit out of that bear. Come on. You guys could put some, like, pep in your step. You could go a little faster, you know? Like, nothing's stopping you. Okay, anyway. But, oh my god, there's a fucking another one. Okay, this one does not get mercy. I don't feel like dealing with this. Okay. Are they gonna go? Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good? We can be chill. We're chill. We're chill. Okay. Yeah, she does have a... I should probably give her another weapon, but we'll fiddle with her a little bit later. With Vanya, I mean, like her stats and stuff, her stuff in NFF. This guy, Callan, he does not actually have a big relationship to Vanya in the lore, in the sense that, one, Vanya's been dead for like 80 years, at least, when his story starts. He is an elf, but he's also only 25, so he can live for 1,000 years, but right now he's baby in elf terms, essentially. He's just a little guy. He has a list of crimes longer than a CVS receipt, but he's just a little guy. But basically, he is part of one of the noble families, or he was part of one of the noble families that Vanya actually had beef with. So he's actually kind of an op. I mean, he wasn't personally, but his ancestors were a bit of an op, unfortunately. But that does bring us to, where's my boy toy? Where's my boy toy? This guy, my boy toy. So he actually has a way more of a relation to Vanya than Callan does, right? And this is my good friend, Alex. And his name is spelled like that because his full name is actually Alex Stratos. But I also spelled it like that because I wanted to put a Half-Life reference in my Yowie because I'm insufferable. But his entire bit is he is actually studying hemomancy. I had to do a lot of research into, like, medical school and, like, different medical school programs because I did ask, like, this might shock some of you. I'm not a doctor. I am not at all a medical professional. I am a music teacher. I don't know shit fuck about medical school. I've never been. But I had to... Oh, I remember this place. This is that place where that guy, like, scams you. And is like, oh, I just need a little help. And then they, like, try to kill you. But I think I already killed him to death, so it's fine. Oh. I bonked something. Yeah, I think this area is all cleared. I think we're good to go here. So we'll just keep trucking. But his boyfriend's whole bit is he is studying wherever the fuck he is. Where'd he go? Hello? Sir? Okay, well, he left me. Fucked up. Sick and twisted. Okay, we'll just keep going this way then. But we are pretty close to oh, Lake Gear. I think I should be... Probably a fishing spot. I'm wondering why this is marked. Yeah, it might just be for fishing. I haven't done a whole lot of fishing in Skyrim, to be honest. Like, I know it's there, and I know, like, I'm gonna do it for the museum. But I just haven't, like... yeah, okay, it's probably fishing. You can see it right there. The few times I have done the fishing in Skyrim, I have not enjoyed it. I'm not very good at it. I mean, we can... Cooked carp? Ooh, well, I mean, that's free food, so I will take that. Let's see. Yeah, because I think it's just fishing supplies. Yeah, so that just gives me... I'm curious. Did I bring my fishing rod with me? I did, yeah. We can go fishing. We'll do a little fishing treat. Okay, when fishing, press activate to reel in your line. Reeling when there's a shrunk bone in your line. Yeah, okay. It's kind of like fishing in My Sims. Like, you see the ripples on the surface? I'm really bad at it. I don't know why. Oh. Does that count? Oh, I'm hungry. I don't know where. Oh. I reeled in my line to it. Let's try it again. Okay, there it is. I can't like see where it is. There was nothing on your line. Okay, you know what? I don't. This is why I don't like fishing. I tried it twice and I hated it, and now I never want to do it again. Anyway, but let's see, Gearman home. But yeah, so Callan's boyfriend's thing is that he is actually a doctor, like not like in medical school, like he is already a whole ass doctor. But in this world, you have to like go to regular college, then you go to med school. And then if you want to, and in some parts of the world, if you want to study magical medicine, that's like a whole separate thing, right? So he's got his MD, but he does not have his magical MD, his MMD, his Miku Miku dance, if you will. But hold on, let me drink water. But what ends up happening is he actually the connection he does have to Vanya. Where is he? Why does he keep leaving me? Bitch. But the connection he does have to Vanya is they actually share a mentor. So, there they are, right? So, Vanya's mentor, Velthel Nerixi, the guy who kept exploding me with his mind last stream. Oh, it's just Skeever. Okay, we can just do that real quick. They share the same mentor, right? Even though Vanya's dead, her mentor is still alive, and he takes Alex on as a protege, so he can get his doctorate his extra doctorate, essentially. I don't remember the terminology I used. There is a term. I did figure that out. I just forgot what it was. Oh, a hole? A hole. Okay. I can never remember if I'm supposed to go down there or not. I know I've done this quest before, but I forget. Yeah, we'll go this way. Whoa, hello, sir. That's not too bad. Whoa. Yeah, I did hear something. It's spiders in my ass. Okay, I think we're good now. We're good now. Cool. Ooh, don't step on the trap. Don't step on the trap. Don't. Good job. Yay. Okay. Oh, it's one of these. Fish. Hawk. Wait, I can't see shit. Where's my lantern? Turn that shit on. Why is my lantern not turning on? Huh? Make it lit. Make it lit. Where's my lantern? How do I make it lit? It's not lit. That's the wrong button. Well, I guess it's just gonna be dark. Whatever. Okay. Oh, I do vaguely remember this. Actually, I do have a torch if my lantern's not gonna work, I think. Oh, I guess oh wait, no, it's because I'm looking at apparel. Torch? No, I guess I don't. Does anyone have mage light? What's that noise? Oh, there's a guy there. Yeah, that'll be fine. I love when it does the kill cam and then he doesn't die. Let's see. I should have candlelight. Candlelight's in alteration though, isn't it? Yeah. Just do this real quick because I can't see shit, dude. Oh my god, there's a man. Can we deal with that? Thank you. Okay. Good work, team. Okay, let me see what's going on here. So we got bird, fish, snake. Okay, so this should be... Oh my god, there's another one! Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway. Okay, yeah, you tell him, Anya. Fuck him up. Okay, fish, snake, bird, wait. I'm gonna say the bird is first. Because that's just what I feel. Bird. Okay. Fish? Yeah, I remember the fish being second. That's two. Another one. What was it? Oh my god, I have the memory of a goldfish. Bird. Fish. Snake. Bird, fish, snake. Bird, fish. We're gonna do another clairvoyance. Or, let's favorite that actually, because I think I have it set for my followers to cast it, but they just don't want to, I guess. Oh, there's another guy. Here. Okay, I need to... Okay, bird, fish, snakes. We had... Wait. Oh, this is one where they all change, isn't it? Here, you guys can handle that, right? Yeah, you can handle it. There you go. Okay, That's it. Snake. Fish. No, this should be it. Snake. Okay, snake. Is it like the one where it changes them? Or maybe I'm just stupid. Fish? Yeah, this should be a bird. Bird. Fish. Snake. Yeah, okay. Then where's the lever? Pull the lever, Chrome. Here. Yay! Okay, cool. Let's see. We'll do that again one more time. It's dark and I do kind of want to see. Oh, there's another guy. Okay. We haven't done a Fusro dial yet today. I would like to do a Fusro. Unrelenting. Yay! Okay. Ooh. Okay, yeah, this isn't too bad. I don't know how big this dungeon is, though, TBH. Hello? Frenzied Undead Archer. Where are you? Show yourself. Guess he doesn't want to show himself. Okay. Oh, is he over there? Oh. Hear him. Oh, there's a... Airman's epitaph. Magus, keep thy vigil eternal. Serve now in death as you did in life. By these seals our realm preserve. From traitors 3 and their charm of strife. Nice. Okay. I think so. Oh. What? Who is shooting me? Oh my god. What are we doing? What? Chat, what are we doing? I still can't see him. Like, that's Vanya's guy. Okay, you guys deal with that. I'm gonna unlock the door. We're gonna... Oh, there's another one. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, big boys. Big boy spider. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. That should be... is there anything over here? I really can't see shit. I don't know why my lantern's not working. Oh, there was candlelight. That's what I wanted. Let's see. I'm gonna oh, I can't save right now. Oh, you're still fighting that guy? Okay, they'll figure that out in due time. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be a-okay. If they put their heads together, they can figure it out. Oh shit. Oh, he's level 40. Okay, he could actually kick my ass. Yes, thank you. Tank for me. Tank for me. Tank for me. Tank for me. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be hard to get shots in, but it's okay. Okay. I'm trying not to shoot any of my followers. Oh my god, what did you do to him? Okay, I shot him. I'm sorry. Okay, he's fine. He's fine. Okay, yeah, that guy could have actually fucked me up, but alas, we're good. Why did I grab that? I don't need that. I don't need these boots. Where'd they go? Elvish boots. We don't need those. Okay. Let's see. Oh! Well, that was not the answer. Oh, my lantern's working now. Yay, okay. What am I missing then? If this isn't the way. I mean, I do have Whirlwind Sprint. There might be a way to... Let me save before I try something stupid. There might be a way to make this work. Thinking. That's where I came from, right? Yeah. Okay, if we can... Oh, fuck! That was not... Yeah, that didn't work. Where there's still that guy over here, though. Yeah, did we go over here? Because there's a guy over there, and that's where we couldn't find him. I think he's in here. Like... He's still shooting at me. Oh, you found him? Where is he? Oh. You did not find him. You did not find him. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. Ooh, here we go. Come on. There we go. All right. Oh my god! Oh my god! No, thank you for healing me. I'm here to look some more and I see them almost die instantly. Listen! Hello, Earthy, but listen! Listen, it's fine. It's fine, okay? This is a simple dungeon. You know, it's just, I need to figure out the puzzle that I can't see because it's fucking dark in here. But that's okay. And we'll unlock this chest first because my brain is massive and I have like 90 bazillion lockpicking. Because I love to steal. I love crimes. Okay. Remember when I was talking about something coherently? Yeah, me neither. Well, okay. Is there... Single ice arrow. That does look cool, but that doesn't...
You can't hide from me.
Do we still not know where that one fucking archer is? It's gonna be a long day, gamers. Okay, we can do this. Let's see. There's that. There's a guy somewhere. Oh god. Is he above? He's above us. Oh, I see him. Oh god, I gotta angle this just right. That's where he is. It'll be easier from over here. Oh god, let's come here, come here. Come here. I can't see shit. My fucking man's did all that over the screen and now I can't see. Okay, that's one. One more. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Vanya. Very cool. I think I picked the perfect voice for her, by the way. She's such a little rapscallion. I love you, little autistic girl. All right, let's see. So we killed that guy, but that still doesn't tell us where the fuck to go or how to get the drawbridge down. Something I'm missing over here, maybe? Maybe there's like a room I skipped past, I'm thinking? Here's the apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Can I just... Oh! No! Parkour. Okay, there might be a way. There's a way. It worked. I just fucked it up. Okay, everyone. I can do it. I can do it. I believe. Okay. Take the bow away. Hello? Aha. Okay. We need to... Third time's a charm. Okay, I have to be careful, because some of them have a... Because you see the little arrow thingy, right? Some of them have a grabbable edge. Some of them don't. Okay? Come on. Next one. Do it. Okay. I don't think this is... Ooh. Okay, I don't think this is the way you're supposed to do this, but this is the... Yeah, that's not the way you're supposed to do this. Okay, hold on. Okay, where did we come from? We came from here. Wait, is there another door over here? No. Yeah, we did come from here. Is there something I missed back here? Do I gotta backtrack? Oh god, don't make me do this. Wait. I thought maybe there was a lever over there, but it appears not. Let's go back over here. I don't know. I know it's not the answer, but low-key, I still feel like parkour is the answer. Like, it hasn't worked, but it has been the closest thing to get us to our goal. So, like, maybe if it works, it's not stupid, right? It just has to work. Let's see. I just wanted to see if that would be different at all, but it appears not. Okay, because there's a lever right there. Right. Aha! Oh fuck. There's a guy. Just don't hit me. Thank you. Oh, there's no one. Okay. go. Okay, cool. I still don't know how we get this one down. I still don't know how we get this one down, but that's okay. With the power of parkour, anything is possible. Hi, Zio! Welcome! We are info dumping. Well, I was info dumping, and then I got distracted by parkour in German's Hall today. That would be something, you know, something nice and light and easy. Let me see. Oh, okay, wait. You can just. Ooh. If you just walk forward, you'll die, right? Okay, we're not gonna risk that. We're not gonna risk that. We're not gonna. Is he coming? Or is he also afraid of the spiky thing? I missed. Okay, at least I have my boy toy to heal me. You got my name right first try? Ah, thank you! I think it's just because a lot of my, What? God damn it. Beautiful. Oh my god, I have to do the parkour again. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all week. Thank you. Well, anyway, welcome. I was gonna say, I think I got... What? Oh, there's still... Oh, this is before I killed that guy. Hold on. I have an idea. I have an idea. I have an idea. Where's my yelling? My yelling. Okay, if I do this and just... Okay, you know what? Maybe I should just shoot him. It's fine. Come on. There we go. Why is it not letting me... Can I not shout if I'm locked on? Maybe that's it. This is risky. I don't like it. Oh, he's plagued. Oh, get plagued, idiot! Oh, get plagued. Okay, yeah. Okay, now the homies can beat him to death, and that'll be fine. Okay, perfect. What map pack are you using, if it's okay to ask? Yeah, I am using a altered version of Blood and Lust. My commands have not been... Oh, shit. Why is my... Okay, hold on. Let me double check. Do I have my shouts equipped? Because I feel like they're... No, I don't. There we go. Yay! Okay. Anyway, but I am using... There should be a thing that says exclamation mark mod list, but it hasn't been working today. Like, none of my CloudBot shit has been working today for some reason. I'm gonna let them handle that. But I am using an altered version of Blood and Lust. The big changes I made to it is I'm also using Proteus alongside it, just because, oh, that's a trap right there. Hold up. Oh, it's the guy. Okay, it's the guy. But just because I really like having my OCs to play with me. I like, we're not gonna do this again. We're not gonna do this again. I'm gonna save. We're gonna save. We're not, oh, I can't save right now. Oh no. But yeah, that's the biggest change I've made is Proteus. And Proteus is basically a mod where you can make your other like characters that you have in other saves followers, and you can switch between characters in the same save, which does that run the risk of making your save incredibly unstable? Yes. But fuck it, we ball is my approach. Oh, he killed himself! Yay! I should phrase that differently. What happens if I... Okay, I think we're just gonna unrelenting or whatever the fuck. Whirlwind sprint this one. Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. But yeah, oh shit. Oh, thank you. Okay, we have our boy toy to heal us. Everything will be okay. And now we save. We're not doing this shit again. But that's the thing is I really like having my OCs, my original characters, as my followers. So even though it's a risk to have it running, I do really like it. I think it's worth the risk personally. That's just me. Okay. But there's also a ton of mods in there that I really like. Let me see. Like a lot of like armor mods and stuff. I think I'm running like 1500 right now. Oh shit. Okay. I don't think I've ever actually done modded on I don't think I've done modding on console ever. I had like 1,000 hours on console back in the day, but I never modded on it. TBH. Hi I'm trying not to get beaten to death. What type of characters do you like to play? So I'll be real, my OCs have a very wide range of abilities, but I like playing stealth archers. That is part of the reason why I also did Proteus, is because before, when I used to stream like specific playthroughs of different like classes and whatnot, like different kind of types of builds. And I found that I like talking about my characters, I like talking about their lore and their stories, but I didn't actually like the different play styles. So that's part of why we're doing this with Proteus, is that way I can talk about all my different characters and I can have them with me, but I can just stealth archer and I don't have to think. I don't think you have to think when you play stealth archer. It's awesome. But okay, another one. Another one? Oh, there we go. I personally like playing a necromancer. There's a lot of really fun necro spells and whatnot with, you know, even in the base game. I feel like the base game actually has really good necro spells. But there's a lot with like, oh god, what is it? I think I'm thinking of Triumvirate. Triumvirate has a lot of really good spells for that as well. I used to have a Blood Mage character who, right now she's my follower.
Be of service.
Hi, girly pop. And she's kind of a hemomancer. But unfortunately, I can't like give her the spells I used to like have when I did like hemomancy builds and stuff like that, because a lot of times if you have really quirky spells that are too quirky on some of your followers, it'll fuck up the game. But like I think one of my characters has like an invisibility spell, although that one I think is in base. I think that one's in vanilla. But it sometimes fucks me up when she just appears and explodes. Is this? Oh, fragment site. There we go. But yeah, so anyway, as I was talking about before I got exploded, so for those of you who are just coming in, welcome. I am curious, like, I do want to double check. I feel like, I'm wondering if, like, shit's just fucked today. Like, shit might just be fucked today. Let me try with Cloudbot disabling it and re-enabling it. Although, it might have just gotten turned off in general. Let's do that. Do that. Okay, that's interesting. It simply will not let me turn on Cloudbot. Oh, wait, no, there it goes. Okay, let me see if this works now. So we're just gonna try this and see if it behaves today. Yay! It's working now! Yippee! Yippee! Okay, awesome. Love to see it. I don't know why that wasn't working. But yippee! We love to see it. We're happy to see it. I think maybe just Cloudbot was fucked up. Yeah, I don't know. But it's okay. Now it's fixed, and that is all that matters. But I did get my Discord up and running. I did do it. For those of you who may not know, or if it's your first time in a stream, hi. My name is Ebi. I used to primarily be a VTuber, but now I am shifting to primarily being a writer. But I got a lot of ideas for writing from streaming with all these different characters. So I am back to streaming so I can yap about my characters and my book and my writing and all that. And right now, I am working on my big project. Ooh, hold on. I don't want to die. I feel like if I walk in here, I'm going to fucking die. My big project right now is a urban romantasy, is a MM romance, is a very weird clash of genres. Hi, Shoes, welcome in. But I think that's why it's fun. My elevator pitch for it is Elf Mafia Yowie. Oh, Zio, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. You're now Guess I Could Keep Girl Boss. Skyrim is good. I've only died twice. Also, if you hear a weird vibrating noise, I'm not dying in an earthquake. That is my parents opening the garage. So it's gonna happen again when they close the garage. But that is my elevator pitch for it, and people seem intrigued by it. And it is, the main romance is between the nephew of a mafia boss who sells essentially magic crack, and then a blood magic doctor who is trying to study that magic crack, and a chaos ensues, essentially. And that is who we are playing with today. Hold up, let me see if I can, the lighting's not good. If I want to take pretty pictures of my OCs, we need to make sure the lighting's good. Okay, that's very important. Can I tell you guys something, actually? This is low-key embarrassing. but I feel like it speaks to me, like, okay. Oh, hold on. There we go. Sorry, I got a notification for my car. That sounds like something my BF would obsess over. Listen, I post a lot of snips on Blue Sky and in my Discord, and that's my plan. Is my Discord right now, I have to use Discord for work a lot, so I don't have time to, like, manage a, like, a traditional Twitch community Discord, but I have it as kind of an archive server. So basically it's like, you know, I will be posting like snips from my books there. I will be posting some of my art there. I've already posted a lot of my art there, some of my NSFW art and my SFW art. There's penises there, but I censored them. Well, okay, I spoiler tagged them. So if you want to see the penises, you can, but you don't have to. And I'll also be doing like blog posts and stream posts. Oh, she's so pretty. Look at her. I'm so glad we got Vanya back. She's so gorgeous. Oh, she looks like she's made fun of me. I love her. I love her so much. She's so beautiful. Ah, okay. But yeah, so we got our MC, which is my beautiful boy Callan, who is my beautiful princess with a disorder. Who has a nicotine addiction and is an elf and is in the fucking mafia. But that's okay. You know, nobody's perfect. And that is his boyfriend Alex, who is a whole ass doctor, studying blood magic and its interactions with essentially magic crack. So that is who we have joining us today. But we also have Vanya, who in their timeline of my world building is actually hella dead. But we were yapping about her a lot, and she was a character we used to play as a lot on here. So I thought we'd originally I was gonna bring just the boys, but I thought we would have Vanya tag along too. So I like the idea that she's just like Fujoing out the whole time or something. Like loving gay couple, evil and intimidating horse. But yeah, so that is what I do, is I stream as a VTuber because I've always streamed as a VTuber, but I also write. So my streams are really sporadic these days, but it's one of those things where it's like streaming is what got me back into writing in the first place. So I genuinely like streaming, even if I can't be like a traditional streamer and be like super consistent, you know? But that's why I wanted to bring back the Discord, even if it's also a little untraditional. So we did accomplish one of our goals, which was getting to this. That was our big, we're kind of doing a lot of just like little things today rather than big quests. But there are some quest lines I'm reserving for certain characters. Like when we do Dawn Guard, we're probably going to bring Jasper with us. When we do College of Winterhold, we're probably going to bring Severin with us. Jasper, if you used to watch some of my old streams, he is my two-handed warrior who fucks everything that moves. Severin is his brother, who is a botanist and a little bit more normal than he is. I too like coming up with way too long backstories for my characters. Bro, I love it. That is why I stream, is I just like yapping, you know. Let's do another Stone of Barack Obama. Let's see. Well, actually, what time is it? It's 10:24. This is actually a pretty good place to set up camp. So let's actually set up camp, and then we will go in the morning, and we will do some walking. We're doing a lot of yapping, so this might be a walking stream, right? That's like kind of how I play Skyrim, is like, depending on what's going on, if I have a lot to yap about, we'll walk, but if not, then we'll fast travel. But I got a lot to yap about. But yeah, I am gonna do my monthly like wrap-up stream next week, which is just like me talking about like, this is everything that happened this month, this is all the progress I made on things, this is all I read and all I watched. I have some very fun stuff planned for that one. I have an entire bit planned for this, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but because I have a character who is a doctor and I am decidedly not a doctor, wait, did you see that red flag? Do I have vampirism? No, I'm just hungry. But why does it look like that? That concerns me. That concerns me. Hold on. Yeah, okay, I am just hungry. Okay, so it's fine. It's fine. Let's pack this up. Cool. And then how actually... No, I'm not close to leveling up. I did level up before stream. Let me see. What's going to be the best direction to go to get to this side? Because we have a lot of stuff on this side, but we haven't explored this area a ton. So why don't we actually... We're going to actually do some walking. But yeah, so I am really proud of. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I started watching Grey's Anatomy, which my husband, so lovingly refers to as a white woman One Piece, and there is some crazy shit in that show. I made notes of all the things I want to talk about with it, and I have some clips pulled up that will absolutely. Fuck it. I need to show you this. Okay, I need to fucking show you this. Hold up. So, like, I was watching Grey's Anatomy, right? And the plot, I was gonna wait to do this. I'll probably do this bit again next week. I don't give a fuck. Okay, but, like, I was watching Grey's Anatomy, okay? And David knows what's gonna happen. David knows what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, but David knows what's gonna happen. And there's this whole scene, right, where she's, like... The whole bit here. God, the early 2000s music. Is this gonna ruin the VOD? It might. The whole bit is some guy accidentally shot himself with a bazooka that didn't explode. And they're all afraid that the fucking bomb is gonna explode as soon as they take it out. Right? So she takes the bomb out. I've never seen this before, by the way. She takes the bomb out. And, like, we got the early 2000s, like, music type playing. And I'm like, oh my god. You did good. It's all gonna be okay. This is so heartfelt. And then, just watch. Like, okay, they're gonna heal the guy, right? Because the guy now has the gaping hole from the fucking bazooka. There's a World War II reenactor. I don't fucking know. And the guy's walking out with the bomb. I watched this. I was thinking about this at 3 a.m. last night. Okay, this fucked me up so bad. I had this ready to go because I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it today, but just like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? And then they never address it. They never. I was thinking about this at 2:30 in the morning because I couldn't sleep because I fucked up my sleep schedule. And I'm like, they never address it. They literally, like, the episode ends and they're all like, wow, we did it. We saved the day. Everything's gonna be okay. It's like, no! Everything is not gonna be okay. I mean, it just got exploded. Oh yeah, there's the walking house. But like, they don't talk about the wing of the hospital getting shut down. They don't talk about, like, if that guy's gonna be charged for manslaughter. Like, he just explodes, and then it never is brought up again. Like, what the fuck? What's happening now? Oh my god, there's Spriggans. There's Spriggans. Wait, oh fuck, I'm gonna die, Where is everyone? Where? Okay, Vermina? Who is that? Dude, maybe I need to put my hat back on, man. Like, I'm cool. I'm chill with the Daedra, man. Oh, they're gonna get my ass. They're gonna get my ass. I feel like I shouldn't, like, ask for no spoilers on a show that's, like, nearly as old as I am. But, like, don't spoil it for me. Oh, okay, yeah, they got his ass. My high elf necromancer is called Villandel. Oh, I have a character who is also not a high elf because I don't have, like, he's a high elf in this, but, like, not in my book because we don't really have high elves. We just got elves. I'm lazy. He got kicked out of the Thalmor base. They kicked out of the Thalmor during a mission to Hammerfell for being lazy. To despite his commander, he resurrected all the Hammerfell warriors his squad killed just to... He eventually ended up in Skyrim. The whole thing brings back the dead to do menial tasks so we can do the bare minimum. That's my kind of guy. That's how I'm trying to be. He sounds based as hell. I love that. No, my, the OC I'm thinking of is named Velithil. And he is, actually the mentor of these two chuckle fucks. These two hemomancers, and he invented some war crimes and by extension did some war crimes, and he's also an arsonist, but he's also a loving father. So, you know, but yeah, that's, I don't know, it's just, but it has been very helpful for writing hospital things because, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm a music teacher and an anime girl on the internet. It takes the effort it takes to raise the undead. That's the thing, is if you're, I think that's kind of what I love about, like, I get the idea of, like, you never want your characters to be, like, OP in terms of, like, the world building or whatever, but sometimes OP characters are fun because they can do certain shit with, like, I feel like sometimes that little effort is really fun, you know? Just, like, yeah, it's cool. Like, we're just gonna bring back some dead people. It's fine. It's cool. No big deal. Don't worry about it. Like, just, I'm gonna resurrect some dead people, and then what do you want from McDonald's? Like, dead ass. I think that's why I like Callan, though, is even though he lives in, like, the magic capital of the world in my world building, his ass cannot use magic. Like, he's literally born to one of the most famous mage families in the world, and he just got unlucky. The way I have it set up in my world building is being able to use magic is essentially a blood disorder, right? You have a certain substance in your blood that can react with heat and other matter, right? So you have to have, like, another thing. Like, you can't just pull a spell out your ass. Like, it has to be, like, the thing in your blood, heat, plus random component, right? Kind of like in D&D, but if it was more annoying. But if you don't have that in your, the special sauce in your blood, I think it's called Arcanixium. I don't remember. I wrote it and I forgot. But if you don't have the special sauce, then you're shit out of luck. And Callan just does not have the special sauce. So in the book that he is the main character of, he has no magic, but he does have a gun. So he makes it work. We'll spend 4 hours raising a skeleton to clean his house, despite the fact that it would have taken him 20 minutes to do so. Does your OC have ADHD perchance? He just like me for real, for real. Let me kill this lion real quick. Ooh! I'm so good. I'm so fucking good. Okay. But yeah, so let me see. I do like, listen, the original idea I had behind this is I was like, I'm going to talk more about my two main characters and their relationship because, like, it is a romance novel, and now we just got Vanya Fujoing out. Like, that's all we got. Maybe he does. Good for him. Good for him. My man over here has ADHD. I love him. He's so beautiful. But he just like me for real, for real. I think there's a scene where he just, like, is constantly biting his nails, and it drives his mans insane. Also just like me for real, for real. Is that a wolf? Yeah. Oh, jeez. Where the fuck? Oh, I forgot I gave Vanya necromancy. Why is it wanting me to shoot the rabbit? The rabbit didn't do nothing. I'll leave him alone. Oh, let me drink some water real quick. And spill water all over myself. Fantastic. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, basically, it's been a fun, I realized that, like, this is gonna sound really weird. I didn't originally intend to write a romance novel. Originally, I had, like, something much larger in scope, and then I decided Callan and Alex originally weren't even gonna be the main characters. In fact, it was actually gonna be a different guy that was gonna be the main character, and they were side characters, but I liked their dynamic. They're very kind of like Grumpy Sunshine, except one of them has a drug problem and the other's addicted to nicotine. Up to you to decide which is which. Irrational fear of Debella. You know, honestly, that's fair. That's actually really fair. But I didn't intend to write a romance novel originally, and when I was writing romance with my first project with Vanya and Severin, it wasn't too bad because Vanya and Severin are both autistic, like myself. So writing that was really easy in the sense that it's like I know kind of like I didn't have to worry about like social cues and stuff, right? And when I was in the very like first iterations of Callan and Alex's story, one of the things I struggled with, and I had my husband and a bunch of my friends help me out with it, is they had to be like, there was one point where I got a little line of feedback that said Callan is hilariously bad at flirting. If this was your intention, keep it. If not, revise. And internally I'm like, that's a pickup line I've used in real life before. I'm fucked. Like they say, write what you know. So like, I just had to give this man no riz. Because I don't have any fucking riz. No, I did end up giving him riz. He actually has a lot of riz. Because originally my idea was he's bad at flirting, but he gets away with it because he's conventionally attractive, which is funny. But I was like, no, I'll give him, he's allowed to have a little riz because so many of my other OCs are rizless. Not because Debelle is some all-powerful being, but because she's the god of love, and love means people and social interaction. Oh my god, I love that. What about Mara? Because Mara's not love, but it is like, well, I guess that would be people too, right? Like, I imagine you like walk past a priestess with Debelle, and it's like, oh fuck. I love that though. But yeah, I had to give Callan more Riz, and their dynamic was a bit harder because, well, for one, I have no Riz, as I mentioned before, and two, I am also not a guy, so I had my husband proofread a lot of it, and I had a lot of my friends who are guys proofread a lot of it, because I really didn't want it to, like, I don't know. If you've ever read any sort of BL or MM romance, there's some things where it's just like, and I was trying to avoid that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm trying to like hide anything and be like, haha, I got you. I am secretly a woman writing MM romance. Aha, I fooled you. But it's more so, it's like, I don't want I want the characters to feel like dudes, you know? I don't want it to just feel like a reskinned female MC, if that makes sense, you know? Mara's priests are more chill, whereas Debelle's priestesses are very well forward. Yeah, that makes sense. Mara's priestesses are probably just like, they probably just feel bad for him. Just give him a pat on the back, just like, it's okay, buddy. You're doing your best, and that's all we can ask of you. Oh, everyone's dead. I should have read the letter. That probably would have told me why, but I don't feel like it. But yeah, I'm really grateful I had a lot of friends to beta read for me that helped me with like dialogue and internal dialogue and stuff like that. And I'm really proud of kind of where it came up. But I am starting the second draft soon. I'm going through, so right now my big thing that I've been doing is the first draft has been done for a while. First draft is done, went through beta reader feedback. We're good, right? Well, we're good. We're actually very not good. There's a lot of things, it's not a lot of things that need to change, it's a lot of things that need to be refined, right? Did I just completely, no, okay, I know where I'm going, except I don't, but I do. Okay, here we go. I forgot that I like wanted to go to that one place and then change my marker, and then I never changed my marker. But like, it's like one of those things where it's like, the first draft is like, solidly okay. Like, it's fine, right? But I don't want it to be fine. Why are you squaring up?
Well, look what we have here.
What?
Yes.
All you're doing is being in some, I don't know, I'm thinking about, because usually when I do these, I do them as my OC, and I'm like, I think Callum will fight. I think he'd be like, alright, let's fucking go. Alright, what side of your face would you like rearranged?
I'll teach you to talk to me that way.
I'll beat his ass.
See what you're made.
Wait, this is a quest? Wait, why is he? Oh fuck. Oh fuck. I didn't know I could kick him. Oh shit, he's beating me. Oh, he's beating my ass. Okay, hold on. I gotta lock on. I'm locked in. Oh my god. Can I? Oh. Oh, 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 oh. Fuck, fuck. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I gotta be careful. There might be a way. There might be a way. Oh, fuck. No, 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 no. No, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Fuck! CC Highlight, he's very tall and conventionally intimidating, yet deep inside he's a lazy bean, an anxious lazy bean. Me too. Oh wait, are we still brawling? I guess not. I don't want to risk it. There's guards like right there. I'm not gonna risk it. I would rather order undead around. You know, there's I don't know if you're on Tumblr at all. But there's a artist who has an OC that you might really like. I like this person's art a lot, and their OC, I think their name is Fainal, but they're a very chaotic Altmer of questionable morals. But their OC is very, very fun. Let me link that. Because I don't know why it just made me think of it. Because I feel like when it comes to like high elf OCs, it's one of those things where it's like, there's like the I like high elf OCs with Elder Scrolls stuff that absolutely go against like the stereotype of like hoity-toity and kind of snooty. Like, I love chaotic high elves. I love high elves that just don't give a fuck. and to just defy that expectation. I think that's awesome, you know. Also the trope of like intimidating but is actually like looks intimidating but is actually a cinnamon roll. Although I don't know if you can be a necromancer and a cinnamon roll, but I'm willing to be proved wrong on that. I think is very, very fun, you know. So that sounds delightful. All right, where the fuck am I going? Here. Okay. I need to make sure I'm going in the right place because we have a goal in mind, and I would like to get at least one more stone of Barack Obama. I'm gonna keep calling it that. That's the wrong way. I know directions. Is this the way? Sort of. Okay, good enough. Good enough. I know directions. I understand directions. I know how to go places. But yeah, I have, I'm basically doing, like, I haven't done a full read-through of my novel since it was initially completed in, like, May. And now I'm, like, now that I have, like, everyone's feedback and, like, so many things to think about, I'm doing, like, a read-through and going through and, like, basically making plans for all the things I'm going to change for Draft 2. So I'm at like chapter I think 20 out of 36, so we're gonna be starting Draft 2 really soon, and I will need beta readers for that. So if you are interested in that, definitely join the Discord, because I will probably put a call out for that, or like applications for that in the Discord, and eventually I will probably need ARC readers too. So if you would like the opportunity to get a free copy or a sneak peek, then definitely take a look at that. But yeah, I'm feeling really good about the progress it's making. And even though there's like a lot of things that are like, it's one of those things where it's like, when you first start writing, you have this like, I'm gonna have to make so many changes, this fucking sucks, you know what I mean? But then like, now I'm at a point where I'm like, actually kind of, okay, are you a friend or are you just a hunter? You're just a hunter. Okay, that's fine. But now I'm at the point where I'm going the wrong way. I'm going the wrong fucking way. I don't know directions. But now I'm at the point where like, I know I'm gonna have to make changes, but I'm excited to make changes, right? Because even though it's gonna be more work, I know that it's gonna, oh, fate card. I know that it's gonna make the book better in the long run. So it's work. It's still, the road is still long, but we are schmoving on that road, you know? My head will occasionally talk to his undead native. Wait, that's so cute. I love the idea of like, I have this idea in my head of like a Draugr like tied to a chair and just, hi, how are you? Like, you come here often? That sounds so cute. I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love shit like that. Oh, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. Fuck. There we go. Okay, one more. No. Run. Yay. Okay. But yeah, next month we'll be doing the big monthly wrap-up stream, and I'll talk more about all that in, you know, a little bit more detail. But for now, we're just, I kind of wanted today to just be like chill yap stream. You know, just chilling, yapping, vibing, you know, being a little incomprehensible as a treat. Because next month, I don't think I'm going to be able to stream. I mean, I'm still going to be able to stream, but I'm not going to be able to stream as much because I'm going to the Renaissance Fair. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Maryland, land of Old Bay and crabs and the movie Hairspray. And the Renaissance Fair in Maryland is like massive. And I go every year, and I'm really, really excited. So I'll be going on the 5th. The 5th or the 6th, one of those. So I won't be able to stream then. And then I think I have something else, but I have to check my calendar. But right now I've been doing like 2 to 3 streams a month, and that's probably where it's gonna be for a hot minute. But yeah, you know. Let me see. So we're gonna do search for who is There was, okay, can I say something controversial? The Vic N mods, like Dakota and, okay, I haven't played Vigilant in full yet. I know we played some of it on accident at one playthrough. I played, well, one of them got broken on me. I think Dakota got broken on me. There was another one, I don't remember what it was called, that was in this mod pack, and I tried it, and I did not like it. I think the Dakota, or like the Vic N mods are really great if you're really into like Elder Scrolls lore, but if you're not, I'll be honest, some of them were just so fucking boring to me. And I think part of it is because it's a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot of like, go talk to person, get thing, go talk to person, get thing, go talk to person, fight thing, go talk, like it's just very, the quest design with one of them is not great, low-key. And I think the translations are like, they said it was machine translated, but this was before AI was super huge, so I don't know if it's like an LLM or something like that. And I just am kind of like, although I think some of them have an official translation. I think Vigilant has like voice acting and everything too. But I don't know. They were kind of boring to me, you know, and I didn't like doing them. So I'm wondering, because there was a girl. No, that's Lala No is who I'm thinking about. Is the one from Vigilant. I still don't know who you are, but Layla la 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 blah 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 blah. But that's not the girl I'm thinking of. That's the one thing I do. Okay. It's also one of those mods where, oh, Glen Moral, that's what it's called, Glen Moral. It's also one of those mods where for some reason they make the child character look very like, it's like the anime art style, but in Skyrim, and it gets this like really uncanny valley feeling. You know what I mean? Like she's got really big eyes and like anime proportions, but it's Skyrim textures, so it feels kind of just like, ugh. Like it's very uncanny valley, right? Most ultimate necromancers are confident and have grand plans, yet he raises the undead. Listen, if I could have an undead competent enough to like go to Domino's and pick me up a pizza, I absolutely fucking would. I absolutely would. The way I've been world building necromancy in my own world is less about, because this was something I was like, for a while with, because it's such a high magic world, is I ended up deciding that I didn't want it to be like straight up like reviving undead per se, but I ended up going with the angle of like, necromancers are people who specialize in that really short window of life and death. So like hemomancy, it's become something that's not inherently evil, right? But it's a medical thing, right? So like if you have someone who is like severely injured, like think an injury that you should absolutely not survive, right? Say someone falls from like an 80-story building, right? You don't, in the real world, you don't survive that. There's no fucking way. You don't survive that, right? Whereas a necromancer, their job is to essentially, you know, the way the magic works is if there's enough of that person left, they are in charge of keeping them from fully dying, like putting them into like a stasis type state, and then reconstructing them. Now, I imagine this process for anyone who goes through it is incredibly traumatic, which is why I made my MC go through it. I love torturing my characters. It's so fun. Ooh, puppy. But that's been like kind of the angle I've been going with, is the idea of like, as like you see that a lot in medical shows of like, we only have an hour, we only have 30 minutes, you know. And that was my idea, is like, what if like necromancy in this world is people that stop that timer from going down, right? Or people that can extend that timer, right? That was my idea, is like, maybe not resurrection, but something that, you know, just stops death, right? Now, does that mean there is a field of practice that is like geriatric necromancy or like pediatric necromancy? Yes, those terms sound batshit insane, but I think that's part of the fun of it. I just like, I don't know, with world building for like fantasy for like a modern setting, because the time period for this, for Cal and Alex's story, Vanya's story was more like traditional fantasy, like medieval 1500s, 1600s. Although I'm thinking of like, when I rewrite it, making it a little bit more steampunk and kind of using the invention of firearms on a mass scale to be part of what like causes that clash between the mages, is like the rise of firearms and gunpowder being more, you know, commonly used by non-mages. Let me drink water real bit. Ooh, there's a dead guy. But like I enjoy like big stuff like that, but I feel like honestly the things I enjoy the most when I'm world building is like little things, you know. Like I think there's a point where Callan mentions at one point, Alex is like, they're going to visit his parents, which is like very cute, and Alex asks him like, is there anything you're allergic to? My mom is asking, and Callan says, I'm allergic to pineapple, but if it's been transmuted into something else, it's okay. Like little things like that are very. What the fuck? Hold on, I'm dying. Where's my man? Where's my man? Heal me. Where? What was that? What the fuck was that? Where's my boy toy? Where's my boy toy to heal me? Oh my god, he ate my ass. Oh fuck, he's over there. Okay. Okay, can I? Oh, I can't see shit. I genuinely can't see. Oh. Oh! Okay, you were the guy. That was the guy who almost fucking murdered me to death. Okay, there we go. What is with you and nearly dying to fire? I don't know! It does feel like it's always been fire. Listen, I haven't walked over any traps this stream, so that's a victory. The bar is low, but it is that. Oh. Why is it? I wanted to. I think it's because I'm sneaking. I wanted to equip to me. There we go. So if I take this out and then have this. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Now my lantern is on me. Okay. Really fun mod with the lanterns, but God, can they fuck you up sometimes. Okay. And I can't save here. Fantastic. Love that. Where is my boy toy? My doctor and my boy toy. Oh, God. I've jinxed it. You know what? You're probably not wrong. Oh, there's a guy there. Oh, he's level 1. I'm not afraid of him. Okay. Now my lantern's on. Oh, now it's... Oh, okay. Sometimes it changes from blue to orange, and I'm not sure why. I know some of the lanterns have oil. Like this one, yeah, it requires lantern fuel. Oh, my head's in the way. Requires lantern fuel to use. But, like, most of them... Or the one I have is just magic, so which technically you shouldn't be allowed to use, but it's fine. We can defy the world building as a trait. Search for. Okay. Am I supposed to kill you? Oh, let me wait. Hold up. You know, that's a bandit. Okay. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to talk to them or not. So that's why I was like, oh, she would go. See what happens. You know. It's like, no, okay. Okay, let's see. He had a note. So let me read the note. It was the phone that's doing my tracking, by the way, is like blocking part of the fucking screen, so I'm like, let me look. Where was it? It was something about Stony whatever. Stony Creek. Oh, this is the Bellathor sister mod. I forgot about that. I think Bellathor did sell his sister or whatever. That's right. Okay, I forgot what this was from. Okay, today our bandit gang intercepted a Khajiit caravan led by a sly cat named Madran. We demanded their valuables, but Madran proposed a bizarre deal. Freedom in exchange for a housekeeper. Why not? Our lair is starting to smell putrid. Me when my lair smells putrid. If you open the map 4 times, it crashes. I believe that. I think regardless of console, Skyrim is held together with, like, spaghetti and faith. Like, day 12, the housekeeper, Layla, I'm just gonna assume that's Layla, has proven to be a nightmare. Her cleanliness demands are relentless. We're forced to scrub every nook and cranny, and she scolds us for the slightest speck of dirt. It's becoming unbearable. Day 23, we've had enough of Layla and her obsessive cleanliness. The bandits unanimously voted for a clean break. We are selling her to passing warlocks from Solitude Sewers for gold. We long for the freedom from her constant scrutiny. Jesus Christ. Day 24. We bid farewell to Layla, our housekeeper turned nightmare. The warlocks now have her, and we hope to never cross paths with her again. Our lair will return to its beloved disheveled state. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Let's see, is there anything else here? Lantern. Fire salts, I'll take those. Let's see. Let's open this chest up. Bad boy. Iron Prashing is part of its charm. It really is part of the experience. Like, it's part of the... It's just part of the experience. That's all I can say. You just have to... It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. You know, that's what Todd wants. If it got fixed, it wouldn't feel the same. Listen, okay. I want so badly. It is kind of crazy to me, though, that in all the years that fucking Skyrim has been, like, all the time Skyrim has been re-released, they still haven't fixed the save corruption shit. with autosaves. Like, I have autosaves entirely disabled because I don't want shit getting corrupted because my load order is already, like, fucky as is, right? Which is a dangerous way to play the game, but that's better than it getting corrupted, right? Especially when I have Proteus. And like I said, I love Proteus. It's so fun. I love being able to have all my characters in the same save. But it is kind of like... It's kind of like that bomb that was in that guy that exploded on Grey's Anatomy. Do you think I'll ever stop getting new bugs in this game? Do you think the world will ever stop turning? Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just like it's like a guarantee. You know, like it's like one of those things of, oh god, he's gonna freeze to death. It's like, ooh, that backflip though. It's like one of those things where it's like, you know, no matter how much my life may change, no matter, you know, no matter what happens, I know that Skyrim will always crash, and that gives me comfort in a weird, fucked up way. It's the one constant of my life. Is it because of the age of the game? I have no idea, actually. Although, given they were able to do, like, special edition just in general, you know, it makes me think that, like, they should be able to. Oh, he's stuck on a rock. Poor guy. Where is my husband and my Hemomancer dead person? Where did they go? Hold up. I miss him. I need him to heal me. Where did... They haven't spawned... Let's walk a little bit outside and let's see if they show up. Because I don't know where the hell they went. They usually pop up behind me, but they just haven't done that. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Player... Summon... Something nearby. Alex? Okay, there he is. Alright. Oh, shit. He showed up and we're already fighting. Skyrim was 12 hours without crashing, your computer blows up. It's true! It's illegal for the game not to crash. You're not allowed. Okay. I love how, like, everything gets a little bit more colorful when you're not freezing to death. I think that's really nice. I think that's very beautiful. Who are we fighting? Oh, I think he wants to go fight the dogs in there. I have his aggression turned down. No, we are not fighting the cage dogs. No, no, no. He's walking so ominously. I'll be back in 10 minutes. No worries. Oh shit, there's a bear. There's a bear. That's what it is. Okay, don't worry about the dogs. The dogs are in cages. Worry about the fucking bear. Worry about the bear. Jesus. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Let's see if we can find... Oh, well, he liked that. I got the little romance ping. Bro. He is really fixated on those dogs. What's the dog doing? No idea where Vanya went, but she's fine. She's inventor. She's also an inventor of war crimes. I'm sure she's okay. She don't need me. She don't need me. Like, oh my god. Okay, let me... Actually, we're gonna take a break real quick just so I can go refill my water. So let me do this. We're gonna do... I need to make a BRB screen. I had a BRB screen at one point, and then I forgot where it went. Let me do this. So we're just using this starting soon. So BRB, and I'm gonna run some ads so we get rid of the thingy. So I will be back in like 5 minutes. Okay. Boop. You will not miss anything. I promise. I promise. Okay. There we go. Okay. I have hydrated, and we are ready to continue our game. David texted me, and he said, I know you're streaming. Want to make something for dinner, so I'm going to take your car to the store real quick. And I'm like, that's okay. Whoa! Hi, Pandora! Welcome in, gamer! Hello! Hello! Where's my button? What is my button? Hello, gamer! How was your stream? Did you hear my voice crack? No, you didn't. How was your stream? Did you have fun? What did you play? What did you play? It doesn't... I used to, with the shout out, it used to, although I think maybe it was this one that told me? I don't know. There used to be a thing that would tell me what you were playing if I did the shout out thing, and now it's just like, that's Pandora, and I'm like, oh, okay. We started playing the first Halo game. Ooh, did you like it? Can I be so real with you? I've never played any of the Halo games like to completion, but when I was in like 5th grade, I had a big crush on a boy, and he talked about how he really liked Halo, so I bought an Xbox just so I could play Halo, and then I realized I didn't really like it. But to be fair, it was Halo Reach. It was Halo Reach was the game I played, and that was my first Halo, so I haven't played any of the other ones, but I understand the love of games from your childhood. That's me with the Half-Life series. I love Half-Life so much, so I definitely understand. But welcome in, Raiders! Hello! If you are new in town, my name is EB, also known as EB Games, also known as EB LaBelle, and I am a VTuber, writer, and overall goober. So I like to play Skyrim, I like to talk about my OCs, and I like to write about my OCs, and sometimes I draw too. I did my first drawing stream the other day. It was really scary, but we got to look at shirtless men and armpits. It was awesome. So if that sounds like up your alley, then welcome. But if you'd like to go have a drink, have a break, that's totally okay too. Sudeki, well, I don't know about Sudeki. I haven't heard about that one. But yeah, I think I bought an Xbox to to play Halo Reach for this guy that I wanted to like me. Oh, there are hot ladies in it? Oh, then I'm in. And one, he didn't even end up liking me, and two, I didn't even end up liking Halo Reach. Although I found out I really liked Fable. I liked Fable 3. I played Fable 3 and Fable 2 on Xbox, and I really liked it. How dare him? I know, right? But that's okay. I have a cool husband now who works at the Civilization 7 factory and plays video games with me. He's very cool. Although anything wrong with Civ 7 isn't his fault, I promise. It's one of those things where it's like, I used to think I wasn't allowed to joke about that. No, he's like, no, you can. I just can't talk on behalf of the thing. And I'm like, oh, he just messaged me. Am I not allowed to make that joke? Oh, no, it's just Southwest pasta salad. Oh, okay. I like said that and I was like, I saw a ping from him and I was like, oh, did I say something I'm not supposed to? And that just, Southwest pasta salad. Oh, okay, great. Fantastic. But yeah, so we are playing Skyrim. Once again, we are my beautiful princess with a disorder, Callan. My beautiful... Why are you mad? What's got you mad? Look at him. He's angry. No, why is he angry? I mean, to be fair, his mans did just disappear. Like, I don't know where the fuck... We had his boyfriend and a character who's been canonically dead for at least 80 years, but, like, she's cool, hanging out with us, but I don't... Maybe that's why he's angry? Let's bring him back. Hold up. Summon existing character. Come back! My man's come back. There he is.
You don't.
What? Who are you going to go fight? What? What? Who is he? Oh no. Are you good? Who? Who? Okay. Well, you have fun with that. I'm gonna I think he's having a moment, and that's okay. He's allowed to do that. Oh, he's just I don't know. Is he still? Yeah, he's still angry. So I guess there's like enemies nearby that I'm not seeing. Maybe. I don't know. All right, let's go to. Oh wait, have I been here before? Ansel, I have been here before. Did I just miss the fuck? Oh my god, not again. I really gotta figure out how to delete those screenshots. Oh, Vanya's here again. Where's my mans? It says Alex helped me understand one-handed. Oh. But like, where'd he go? He jerked me off, then disappeared. And now my frames are chugging. How could this happen? That's fucked up. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. My healer. Oh, my healer's gone. Oh, wait, no, he's here. Yeah, Alex heal. Whoa, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. Okay, okay. Okay, okay, there we go. Where did you come? Where did you go? Thank you, Vanya. Very cool. Okay. That was scary. Alright, but we're okay. We're okay. Soup? Soup time! Yay! Yippee! Hot dog! Let's make some. Well, 75 hunger. Trying to see what would be the most hunger. Not a hot dog. We'll make some soup. Soup time. Me and the boys making some soup. Yay! Okay. Eat up. Eat, my son. Eat. Garlic bread. I forgot I had garlic bread. I actually have a lot of food. But that's okay. Soup time. Are you still... the fucking... Okay, girl. Whatever. Alright. So, is this where we need to go? Yeah. Okay. Let's head over here. Let's save, because that just feels like the smart thing to do. You know? Oh. There goes your little guy, and my boyfriend is gone again. Okay. Are you in here? Oh, are you okay? Are you good?
Hmm?
Are you okay?
Yes.
Wait, what's my O romance key? Wait, hold on. I think I can flirt with him. Hold up, where's my O romance hotkey? I don't remember. Oh, come ascended. Sorry, I have to make that joke every time I see it. Where is it? Difficulty mama. Start dialect. K. That's what it is. K. Oh! Yay! That's so cute. He wanted a kiss. Mwah! I love that. That's so cute. Okay. Woo! Potions. Oh wait, oh fuck, I accidentally started eating it. Oh, I didn't mean to eat it. I didn't mean to. I had the oh god, what is it called? The activation key on it. I was just eating shit. Okay, whatever. I will be honest though, once I saw that, like, the fucking fade to black, I got really nervous. I was like, oh fuck, did I trigger an O-stim scene? Oh no. But then it was actually really sweet. Then it was really wholesome. That was cute. I love O-romance. It's so cute. Okay, ooh, conjure ancient death priest. That is a display item. Okay. Let's head inside here, because it seems like there is, well, it's either in the excavation or the other one, but it seems like there's another stone of, Barack Obama, in here, so we need to grab that. Welcome back, Zio. But, yeah, that was cute. But I'm also glad I didn't have to panic get out of an O-stim scene. And you might be thinking, EB, why do you have O-stim installed to begin with? Well, mind your business. I just got the living hell scared out of me. Yeah, I have that effect on people, my bad. Oh. Ooh. I'm looking to see if there's anything good here. I mean, this could also just not be abandoned. Like,
I do hope you know what you're doing.
Why'd she clock me like that? I think the voice I picked for Vanya is like perfect, by the way. She's such a bitch. I love her so much, but she's so mean sometimes. Although I did find it funny in my oh shit. Wait, why are my arrows not going? You see that? It's like the pullback thing, but it's not. Hello? It's 11 p.m. My dog snuck up behind me. That would scare the shit out of me. My cat's done that to me before. I have a black cat, and sometimes Jetmir will just sneak up, and he'll be like, meow, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, oh my god. Okay, there we go. For some reason, the lock-on was bugging out. And now it's not letting me shoot him? You see that? I'm like clicking. have arrows equipped. Huh. Hey. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm just not allowed to shoot. Let me try unequipping and re-equipping that weapon and see if it helps. There we go. Okay. Oh, I can't see where the fuck I am. I can't see where the fuck I am. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I think he's got it though. House is next to woodland, says spoopy fair. Yeah, I can't talk today. But I get what you mean. Okay, there we go. I used to live in the city. But my husband and I moved back in with my parents just to save money because we want to buy a house with them someday. And that shit's expensive. So we're like, you know what? My parents are chill. It's fine. So we moved back in with them and it's really pretty, like being so... I forgot I did. Sorry. Okay, disclaimer. My cat did not actually have an STD, but he did have herpes. But he got it from like someone in the house having a cold. But my cat did have herpes, but the herpes are gone now. He is out of his cone. He is very happy. Hold up. Do you want to see him? Hold up. I will show you him just so you know that he's happy and I'm not lying like a liar. Hold up. Where'd I put him? Do you want to see him? He's so cute. Open, copy media link. Just so it's on the same tab as the Grey's Anatomy and the gun. So I don't have to fuck around with it. There he is. He's so cute. Oh my god. I'll show you in a second. Hold up. Okay, where is it? Just chatting? This one. Yeah, let me turn the BGM off because right now. There he is. There's Jamir. There's him in the box. Look at him. Is he cute? And he doesn't have herpes anymore. My baby, he's so cute. But yeah, that's my cat. If you're wondering, is he named after the Jetmir from Magic the Gathering? Yes. That you would be correct. Okay, let me see. Let me ask my husband to text me when dinner is ready. Can you... Oh, that's all caps. I don't want to yell at him. Can you text me when you're done cooking? I think that is the plan right now, is we're going to stream until there's food, because I am hungry. And my male wife is making me food, and I can't ignore my male wife. That would be fucked up. That'd be sick and twisted. But yeah, anyway. My parents' house is, like, very much in the sticks, so I absolutely feel you about the spooky factor. Like, it's really pretty during the day. Oh, shit. It's really pretty during the day. It's really fun, but it is sometimes kind of scary. Oh shit, okay. I may not die to ice. I may actually die to, oh fuck. Okay, get in there, oh my god, look at her go. Oh, these are the fire arrows. Okay, worked out. I don't think I want the fire arrows though. Apparently he is making Southwest chicken pasta, and I don't know, or was it pasta salad or chicken pasta? I didn't read it right, hold up. Southwest pasta salad with grilled chicken. That sounds really good, actually. David is a really good cook, TBH. Like, I'm trying to learn how to cook, but I'm really bad at it. Like, I don't know how, oh shit, please don't kill me. I don't know how to use knives safely, and that stresses him out a whole lot. That I don't know, like, proper knife skills. And, but he's very good at it. He made this like oh god, what was it he made? He made this like Korean chicken thing that was really, really yummy. But he makes all kinds of stuff. He does the cooking and I do like baking and stuff, but his brain is really big when it comes to things like that. And my brain is really small. And I think it's just because I'm not good at I don't know. I don't have a good excuse. I'm just bad. I'm just kind of bad at cooking, but he's good and that's what matters. So I still get to eat and not eat only Wawa mac and cheese. Because there was a distinct... Ooh, that backflip though, sorry. There was a distinct period where I was eating only Wawa mac and cheese. Okay, let's head out. Wait, okay, so where is the stone of Bingingabungabong? Is it in... Because this was... Oh, are you good? Yeah, she's fine. This is the excavation. Is it somewhere else? Because I thought there were two doors. Because it says the stone is in... Yeah. Okay, let me see. I'm going to Google this because I'm stupid. I'm not stupid. I just don't know. Okay, I'm trying to be nicer to myself. I'm trying to not call myself Stone of. I almost typed Barack Obama. And Sylvan. Where is that? So I know, because I walked in and I walked right out. It sits on an altar next to a unique ghost weapon in the final room. Okay, so I just straight up turned around and gave up. Okay, great. Although this says, yeah, this says excavation. Do I go in through there, or is there like a cave entrance? That's what I'm wondering. Because I feel like there should be a cave entrance. Maybe that is just it. Let me check up here just in case. All roads lead to Obama. Obama, no. Oh, what's over there? Oh, I'm not worried about you. Okay, we're gonna. I think this is the one because it says, yeah. Oh wait, what the fuck? Yeah, we'll take that real quick. Staff of flame darts. That could be really good. Are you okay? She's so normal. I love how normal Vanya is. She's so cute. She's so cute and normal and a little diabolical, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Let's try this again then. So, okay, this goes a lot deeper than I thought. So we're just gonna shimmy over here. Let's save. And we're gonna shimmy over here. And we're not gonna really... Oh, bonk. We're not gonna really... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, oh, speaking of emotes, because I saw the Vanya emotes, and I do really love the emotes of Vanya, Jasper, and Severin. I am gonna draw new emotes for our new characters, for our new friends that we have. I thought about commissioning them, but I was like, you know what? I think it'd be good to learn how to draw emotes. So I think probably next month, whenever we do our next drawing stream, because the project I'm currently working on, I can't work on Twitch. What we'll do is what we'll do is we'll do some emote drawings with the boys and with some of our new OCs. I mean, Callan's whole thing is he doesn't have magic. He has a gun, so we have to do a gun emote with him. Do I have a gun emote? I genuinely don't remember if I did. It has been so long. I did make it in the Discord, though, that if you are subbed, you should be connected. But that's also why I want to kind of, oh, wait, shit. Oh, his dick is gonna pop out. Ignore that. Okay. That's also kind of why I wanted to draw some new stuff, too, because some of those emotes in Twitch, I don't have the original, because I think before what I did was I just uploaded them twice, so that way you could use the emotes even if you weren't, like, subbed. Oh, whoopsie. But some of those files, oh shit. I just don't have them anymore. Just like straight up. That is true. We do have that. Okay, that is true. So we'll have 2 gun emotes. Ooh. Hi, JK. Welcome in.
I am Lua Alskaven. Who
the fuck are you?
My work.
Who?
Be gone, or I will add you to my army of the dead.
Why is she so close to me? Okay, we're killing a woman. Awesome. Oh, there's a guy over there. I bought a bigger monitor today, 32 inches. That's the size of my... Sorry. I'm sorry. I have the humor of a 12-year-old boy, but I have the body of a MILF. Welcome to the stream. Evie being normal? No, not in this economy. Never.
I think it's sweet Lua is so worked up over her dead soul.
Bonk. Okay, okay, there should be one more. Ooh. Oh, come on, come on, come on. There we go, okay. All right, and I didn't even need my boyfriend or Vanya, so we're good. We're good, okay. Let's see, do I have anything I need to disenchant, actually, just to get, kind of lighten my load a little bit? That was also an opportunity for a dick joke, but I showed restraint. You know, I like my screen to be bigger. My bedroom projector is is like 109 inches. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Okay, this one we can disenchant. This one we can disenchant. This, because it has a name, I'm afraid. Oh, this is an artifact, but this isn't. I don't know. I still don't want to, just in case. Though we did free up some carry weight. We're always chilling. Are you chilling? Where'd Vanya go? Vanya! He's so cute. I love him. Okay, I don't know where she went, but she's somewhere. Unless she also started randomly disappearing. Looking for my tablet pen for 3 days and I just found it next to my laptop. Dude! Oh my god. I totally forgot this happened. Okay, so I also lost my tablet pen. And what happened?
Rise
This is
from
how.
your
Oh,
graves
Jesus
to
Christ.
defeat this worm.
Defeat this worm. That's also. No, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. Oh shit, I shot my mans in the face. Okay. Oh, that's a fire arrow. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, perfect.
They deserved a slower death.
You tell him, Vanya. You fucking tell him. I wish I could pat her on the head. I wish I could also, too, like, make the heights. Because canonically... Okay, there we go. Yeah, she's supposed to be... Callan's supposed to be, like, a foot taller than her. She's so small. But anyway. So, I was carrying my iPad to my desk because I wanted to draw what was in a Discord call. And I have, like, the type of iPad case where it's, like, the... Well, no, I think this is just an iPad thing, not the iPad case. But it's, like, where the... You know how, like, the Apple Pen will, like, connect to the iPad automatically? Like, it, like, not connect. But it's, like, magnetic, right? It just kind of, like, slaps itself on there. Oh. Whoa. So, that's what... Oh, oopsie. I didn't realize what that was. So what ended up happening is I get to my computer and I don't see where my fucking, like, my pen is gone. So I'm like, where the fuck did my pen go? Oh, there's people down there. Check this shit out. Oh, he's thick. Okay, wait, actually, he's not that bad. He's not that bad. We can kill him. We can take it. We can take it. But anyway, I went to go draw, and my pen was not there, and I genuinely couldn't find it for, like, an entire day. Lo and behold, I tell David to keep a lookout for it, and then David is like, hey, I found your Apple Pen, and I was like, where was it? It was in fucking Jetmir's litter box. I deadass was like, I think maybe, like, it fell on the floor, or maybe he, like, bapped it in there, or maybe it just fell right into the litter box, but, like, it was clean. Like, he had not pissed or shitted on it. So, like, ups for that, I guess. But I was just like, I could have been so bad. I did clean it. I did. I mean, like, I cleaned it, like, obviously I didn't, like, put the Apple Pen in the dishwasher or anything. But, like, I did, run a, like, hot washcloth over it and some disinfectant. Because I was like, oh, God. Oh, God. That could have been bad. Oh! Oh, shit! Get that out of here. But yeah, that happened to me. So now that I have it though, I'm hoping I can work on my new NSFW drawing. I posted a sketch of it in the Discord if anyone would like to see, which by the way, I have it set up in the Discord. You should still be able to see everything, although the NSFW channel gives you like a little warning. But the roles are just for what you want to be pinged for. So if you want like to be in the know of when I'm gooning. In the know of when I am posting my Gooner. Yes! I finished setting up my Discord. So, as I mentioned before, it's kind of like a an archive server, but your emos should work there. And I'm going to post some more lore stuff there, and I'm going to post little, like, blog thingies every time I, like, for weeks that I'm, like, not streaming. But I'm also posting a lot of my art there, as well as my Gooner art. And you can see there is a work in progress piece of Alex that I am working on. And I'm trying to, like, I don't know, like, his character has gone through, like, Callan's design has always been pretty, like, straight in my head. Well, none of them are straight. But, like, I've always had a pretty clear idea of his design. Alex's design has changed multiple times. And I just, like... I'm still kind of figuring it out because part of me originally is like, it's mentioned that hemomancers. Oh. Anyway. Anyway. But his design has gone through a lot of changes, way more than Callan's has. And right now I'm like, at first I wanted him to be kind of jacked because it's mentioned that like hemomancers. Because they are using their own blood, they need to have a really strong heart. They need to be pretty physically fit, which is hilarious because Vanya's anemic and she's the mother of hemomancy. But or then I was like, I kind of like the idea that he gets a little chubby as the story goes on, because like I wanted him to have the body type of like, you know, like the realistic muscle body type, if that makes sense. Like there's still fat, but there's also muscle. Does that make sense? That's what I'm going for with him, is what I thought. But also I kind of want to give him really big titties. So I don't know. Hi, Lore. But yeah, so I'm working on an art of that, and I don't know what I'm gonna do for his body type yet, but I did draw the dick already, so you know, I might revise the dick. I might make it bigger. I'm not sure yet. Has your living space been growing books? I too have that problem. That's crazy. How could this happen? Also, I think I'm lost. Oh wait, no, we're in here. There we go. But next week, we're going to be doing my monthly wrap-up stream, and I have a whole plan to talk about everything I've been watching and reading, and my writing progress and all that. And we're still going to play Skyrim, of course. But I have some books I want to yap about. So next week, and I've never done like a book review stream ever before, so I'm really excited. I feel like with coming back to streaming, oh, I almost got squished. I've been trying a lot of new things, and I got the opportunity. I wrote about this on my blog, on YouTube. But I got the opportunity to be an ARC reader for the first time. Basically, an ARC reader, if you don't know, is like you get a advanced reader copy, and they ask you for a honest review in exchange for that copy. And I was so scared, low-key. I was like, this is my first time doing an ARC review. What if the book is bad? Like, I was really scared. I was like, I really hope it's good. I really hope it's good, or I'm gonna feel really bad. But the book ended up actually being really, really good. Like, I'm usually not the type of person to tear through books in like 2 to 3 days. I usually take like a week at minimum, especially depending. This book I think was like 350 pages, maybe 400. But this book I tore through in 2 days. It was so good. And I don't think it's officially out yet, but I'm trying to hold off on talking about it until next stream, and I did tell the author that I'd be streaming. So if we see her in chat, we're gonna be really normal and well behaved, and we're not gonna talk about dicks and balls and all that jazz. You know, we're gonna save that for later. About an early edition of Planet of the Apes, you know, the one without the movie cover, because I'm a slut for books without the movie cover. There are some, like, okay, there are some books where the movie cover I feel like makes it better because the original book cover was so bad. Like, I haven't read Heated Rivalry, but I was talking to my sister about it because she read it. But apparently the original Heated Rivalry books were just like naked stock image men on the cover. And I feel like that's like one of the rare instances where like maybe having the show might elevate it a little bit. But a lot of the times, like, oh my god, did you see that Wicked? Oh fuck, hold on, I have to lock in. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Hold on. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh Jesus. Okay, we're good. But like, low-key, did you see that, like, Wicked, right? When Wicked was a big thing? Oh my god, do you guys know about the original Wicked book? Do you know? Because there's, like, some crazy shit in that. Okay, the original Wicked book, like, you know the meme that was going around when Wicked was really popular, when it was like, is your pussy green? No, it's not. If you read the Wicked book, you would know her pussy is purple. Like, that's the type of shit I'm talking about, okay? That's the type of shit that goes on in the Wicked book. I think at one point someone gets their dick sucked by a tiger or like some crazy shit. Yes, the musical and the book are very, oh god, I'm getting shot to death, are very, very different. And of course, very not family friendly, right? Which, you know, when you think about the audience of Wicked, not saying this is a bad thing, you know, you think about, you know, all the little girls dressed up as Glinda with, you know, they want to see Ariana Grande, they got the Barbie dolls and shit, and it was like a genuine problem that parents were buying kids the legit Wicked book, and they didn't know. And then they're accidentally fucking giving, like, their children fucking tiger blowjob shit. Like, it was crazy. If you like any Disney movie, never read the source material. Bro, some of the, like, fairy tales are really fucked up. Starship Troopers is like that. I have not heard of that one. I need to read more. Is that sci-fi? I need to read more sci-fi. I want to get more into sci-fi, but I haven't. I've been reading a lot of right now, and again, I'm holding off on talking about books too much because we're going to talk about them next week. But right now, I've been reading the 5th season. I have 2 books I'm reading right now. I'm reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and then I'm also reading Glitter. I think it's Glitterland is what it's called, by Alexis Hall. Which those books could not be any more different. But I'm really enjoying both of them so far. And 5th season is. I feel like if you like Sanderson stuff, the prose is a little bit more wackier than Sanderson. But if you like Sanderson, like the multiple POVs, like the focus on like the journey rather than just the destination, then you might really. Again, I haven't finished it, but you might really like 5th season. That is what I am reading right now. I've actually have Wicked Wish listed on Barnes and Noble. Okay, here's the thing, Lord. I would not go into it. Oh, there is a thing here. Okay, let me put my ball up. I would not get it. Like, there's a list of content warnings out there. I would read all of them. And I would not underestimate any of them, okay? Her pussy is purple, Lord. It's purple! It gets a little crazy, though. Okay, let me see. What is the pattern for this one? Because I got no fucking... Oh, it's right here. Okay. Arabian Nights is like that? Yeah! Yeah, a lot of them are crazy. Okay, we got bird, snake... what the fuck? Fish? Can't see. There's like a thing in the way. Yeah, bird, snake, fish... Fish, bird, snake, fish... Snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake, bird... Vanya, you okay?
Let me know if there's anything else.
Okay, thanks, girl. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Okay. There we go. All right. Yay! Yippee! And we're not gonna get shot this time. Okay, let me save because I feel like I should. I'll keep reading more normal books like Holes of Wayside School is Falling Down. I'm trying to think of some other books I read. If you like, not to like simp for my friends, but I'm gonna simp for my friends. If you like villain protagonists, my friend A.M. Schilling, my friend Anne, she has a book out called The Devouring, and it's very like cosmic horror, but also like urban fantasy. I don't know if I'd describe it as urban fantasy, but it's really. Let me find the link to it real quick. But that one, if you're into like cosmic horror, I would highly recommend. It's so good. Let me see. Here's the Goodreads if you're interested in it. And again, disclosure, this is one of my pals, one of my friends. But I like it a lot. I've been reading the books of Skyrim as well. Listen, some of the Skyrim books are actually really good. Some of them are really bad, but some of them are really good actually. Don't discount the Skyrim books. Has anyone read because as all of you know, one of my worst traits of being a person is being a League of Legends player. One of the things that eased me back into reading. Hell yeah. Has anyone read the Ambessa book or the Viego book? Are they good? Because I've been thinking about them and I'm like, I don't know. They're on my list, but I don't know if they're worth it I've heard like very mixed things. Have y'all heard the drama about the Asterian book? Oh my god. I'm probably not gonna read it because like I was an Asterian girly. Like we all know. We all saw some of my Baldur's Gate streams, but like I was not as ride or die as some other people. Okay, but apparently some snippets of the Asterian book came out and people are mad. I haven't read a bunch of it, but I'm curious if any of you guys have heard about that drama. I kind of feel bad for the gal that was commissioned to write it. T something Kingfisher is her name. And she's written a lot of like good fantasy stuff from what I've heard. I haven't read any of her books. But yeah, apparently it's like a lot of mischaracterization and people are saying like, oh shit. Oh. Okay, we're gonna have to be careful here. Okay, let me get my windy timeout. There we go, whirlwind sprint. Let's go. Oh, fuck. Oh, I wasn't ready. I was gonna be Oh my god, when did I last save? Oh my god, when did I last save? When did I last save? I didn't think he would die like that! I didn't mean to press the button that early! I didn't mean to press the button that early! No! Where the fuck am I? Okay, this isn't too bad. This could be worse, actually. Oh! Are you okay? You're fine. You're fine. Jesus Christ. Okay. What was it? Snake? Oh, wait, no, there's no one. Bird, snake, fish. And I think it was snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake, fish, snake. Bird, snake. Bird, snake, fish. Wait, that can't be right. Unless, did I? Oh, I guess I already had it. Okay. Bird, snake, fish, snake. There we go. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, I wasn't sure where I ended back up originally. Okay, let's try this again. We are gonna get this stone of rock. I need to think of other weird B things to say instead of Burnzaya. Because I just keep saying Barack Obama. But we're gonna get this goddamn stone, so help me God. Although David just texted me. What did he say? Can you text me when you're done cooking? Yeet. Okay, we have time. There's still time, chat. We're gonna get the stone. We're gonna get the stone of Barack Obama. Okay. Right. Don't step on the thing. Don't step on the thing. Get this thing. Okay. I don't even remember if the loot was good in this room, but I feel like I want to do it anyway. So that's okay. But we've learned our lesson. Okay? We've learned our lesson. Hi, Senna! Welcome in. We were talking about freaky books. Well, not just freaky books. We were talking about good books too, but we were talking about how Skyrim, not Skyrim, the Wicked book is very, very crazy compared to the movie. When it comes to the movie though, actually, I had a lot of people ask me about it, like my opinions on it, because I'm, you know, music teacher and all that jazz. And I actually didn't like part 1 of the Wicked movie, but I did like part 2. I felt like part 1 was just too damn long. It just felt very... Oh. Okay, I guess I just... Oh! Okay, yeah. Turn that off. It just felt like way too long for my taste. Oh my god, there's so many... What is going on? Okay, hold up. Let me get my bow out. Like, Dancing Through Life is like a 7-minute song, and in the fucking musical, they made it like 20. And I'm like, I don't think... There's very few songs in life that need to be 20 minutes long, if we're not counting classical music, right? And I was just like, that is unnecessary. We do not
have vengeance for the
need
death
all
of my
that.
husband. Rise.
Okay, there we go. I read the Odyssey before I saw the movie. I actually have not read... I think I read the Odyssey once, like, many years ago, like when I was in school. But I don't remember much of it, to be honest. Let me see. There's another guy. Here we go. There we go. I should go up here and see if I can get a better angle. Or at least see what's going on a little bit better. It's so fucking dark in here. My brightness is up all the way. But yeah, I will definitely, like I said, I am holding off on some books purposely because I know I'm gonna talk about them next week, and that VOD I'm gonna try really hard. I was thinking about doing an IRL stream this time, but then I ended up not wanting to do that because I didn't want to get out of my pajamas. But I'm gonna try really hard to motivate myself to do an IRL stream next week, because that one I might try to chop up like the book review section and maybe upload it on my writing like author channel that doesn't fully exist yet. we will see though. We will see. But I want to get better at doing IRL streams, because I know for a lot of people, like, I don't know, I would hate for someone to be like turned off of reading my book because I'm VTuber, and for like VTubing is still really niche in a lot of ways, so I feel like I need to I want to get more confident with myself in doing IRL streams, and I've done them before, and people have seen my face. It's not that I'm worried about. It's just like, I don't know. It's just it's just different, you know. And I need to force myself to get used to it again, you know. That's all. All right, let's see. Oh, I'm hungry. We'll give him a snack. There you go. I'm also tired. Oh yeah, we need to sleep soon, probably. What time is it in game? Can't tell. 2:10 a.m. Oh yeah, we probably. Yeah, we've been doing a lot. Gold ore. Oh, don't mind. Oh, I know there's people up there, but gold ore, man, come on. Okay, let's see. Boop. 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 Yay! Okay. My cat is mad my office door is closed. Listen, sometimes Jetmir will get really upsetty spaghetti if we close the door. But then we'll open the door and then immediately he's like, you know what? I didn't even want to be in there. Oh shit. Oh god. Don't let me die. 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 Okay. 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 Oh my god, she's paralyzed. Okay, there we go. Ooh, excavation site. There we go, that should be fine. So let's get these. Excuse me, sir. Well, that's an angle. I mean, I can make the joke, but given the mob pack I have, it's really not that crazy. I was so, can I tell you guys a moment of weakness I had at one point? So, the first time oh, whoopsie. Oh, that could have been really bad. I'm gonna save, actually. Low key, the first time I downloaded this mod pack, this is Blood and Lust, by the way, because, Burke was still on hiatus. When I first started playing. Oh my god! Oh, the door. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, yeah, actually, no, that's nice. That's nice, actually. That's fine. That's fine. We can look at that one. That one's fine. We can look at that one. But, the first time I downloaded this, there were no gay sex animations. And the way Skyrim animations work is, one, they're a bitch to add. Oh, Jesus Christ. And two, if you don't, like... That looked cool as hell, by the way. If you don't, like, add them the right way, they can absolutely completely bork your game. Like any animation pack, not just gay sex animations. So there was one time I completely fucked up my game because the mod pack didn't have, oh, whoopsie, didn't have those animations. And I was so sad. I was, like, doing all this weird bullshit to try and make it work. Like, I had to, like, set up some shit in OSTIM where I had to, like, assign him as a, like, girl without actually making him a girl so he could use the animations. And it was so stupid, and I got really mad, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna try to add them myself, and then I ruined my entire game. I broke my entire game, and I had to fucking, I lost all my saves, and I rage quit Skyrim for, like, 3 months. And then I reinstalled it. So I wanted to come back to Skyrim, and I was so happy when I reinstalled the new version. There were gay sex animation packs. I was so happy. Like, I never even said anything, but it's like the mod author, or it's like the collection curator, like, felt my soul. You know, I was so happy. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, there's always lesbian packs, there's always straight packs in these. Why are there not any gay packs? Like, okay, I know why, you know, because of, like, the average demographic of people modding Skyrim. But still! Let me have my moment. Let my boys kiss. They kissed earlier and it was really cute. Maybe I can make them kiss again. Gay sex animation pap sounds like a pop band. Someone should do that. Someone should absolutely do that. He's so pretty, by the way. I love him so much. He's so pretty. Oh, did I show you guys, well, it's in the Discord server. But I finished that drawing we started, when I was, when we were doing the art stream, and he ended up looking really pretty. Actually, I'll show you. Hold up. Let me grab it. Because I'm really proud of it. I could have done more with it, but I got tired, so I just didn't. Here, let me copy media link. Open. There we go. Oh, wait, that's the wrong browser. Hold up. Why do I have 3 browsers? Jesus Christ. Here it is. I did this, and I posted it. I was really proud of this. This is the one we did on stream, right? And I posted it on my Tumblr, and did you know, fucking, I got, they tagged it as mature content, and I looked to see why it's being tagged as mature content on Tumblr, and they said it was because of female presenting nipples. Leave his nipples alone. Leave my man's nipples alone, okay? Hi, you're so welcome. I was like, can he not be pretty and have his tits out? Leave him alone! I was so mad. But yeah, Tumblr said that he had female presenting nipples, which like his non-binary swag was too strong, I guess. But that happened. Well, there was a reason for that. I don't remember why I brought that. I'm gonna be real. What was I talking about? I don't know. Oh, but yeah, that's right, gay sex animation packs. But yeah, I broke my entire game for them, and then I got them to work, and I was so happy. I just wanted them to, cause I have tons of screenshots of my other characters fucking. Like I've got Vanya having like Sesbi and Lex. I've got like 30 screenshots of that, and I've got like 30 screenshots of like straight sex too. But I wanted everyone to kiss, and I was so sad. Oh, that could kill me. I'm killing her really fast, but I know that spell could eat my ass. Oh, I accidentally shot my mans. Oh, that person is thick. Okay, oh, we gotta be careful. Hold up. I'm also restricted from the NSFW because of silly UK laws. Aww. I'll see if there's a way. I don't know if there's a way around it. Because I don't want to, like, not mark it, because I don't want to get in trouble, and also, like, I don't want someone to accidentally click on it, and then it's like, BAM! Twink hole! But, like, aw, I'll see if there's a way around that. I'll look into that. I don't want you to get banned. Oh, thank you. I do post all my NSFW art on Blue Sky, so if you want to see it, it is going to be on Blue Sky, at least. What was I doing? Right, changing my arrows. I took my ADHD medicine, by the way. I don't know what's going on today. I guess I'm just... Oh, I'm almost out of arrows. Oh shit. Okay, we need more arrows. Ooh, okay. I don't want to accidentally kill the homies, but I think we're good. Okay. Yeah, I need to get more arrows. I only have my other shit there. Silver sapphire necklace. Ooh, we'll take that. We can make a good enchant out of that. Old. Let's see. Daedric arrow. That's what we want. We'll take this extra staff. Yeah, we just need arrows at this point right now, so we're just gonna take wherever. Did you take your Skyrim pills? I think so. God, I love having Vanya as a follower. That's so cool. It makes me so happy. Originally, like I said, I was gonna bring just the boys, but then we ended up talking about Vanya and how she relates to the boys, cause she does. And then so she's third wheeling on this date right now. This is a date right but basically the TLDR is her and Alex share the same mentor, and Alex like is kind of a not a simp, but he's a fan. Like he respects her work in the medical community. Oh my god, and now she's dead. Oh, she's not dead. Oh my god. Okay, skeleton warrior. Oh Jesus. Ooh. Okay, he's fine. They got it unlocked. Okay. Oh, I accidentally. No, don't die. Okay, thank you, Alex. You can do it. Okay, fine. I'll help. There we go. Took a double dose of ADHD meds. I felt awoken. Dude, when I was in high school, I might have told this story before. I've told a lot of crazy stories on here, and this one's actually pretty tame in comparison to the other stories I've told on here. When I was in high school, I had really bad insomnia. Like, it was, oh, the Stone of Bibu, yay. It was like, I was genuinely getting like, I think like 3 to 4 hours of sleep a week, right? Like, I think 4 to 8, like in general, a week. It was really bad. There was one time that it was incredibly bad. So what I ended up doing is I was like, oh, I will simply, because again, I was like 14, 15 at the time. My brain was like, oh, I'm just going to take 2 5-hour energies because the school day is 8 hours long. I will take 2 5-hour energies and then I will have 10 hours of energy. Because believe it or not, 15-year-old Evie was a fucking idiot. So I did that. And what ended up happening is I remember that day, I remember walking into school and then the day was over. I like disassociated the entire day. I genuinely did not remember the rest of the day. I walked into school and then the next thing I knew, I was like in the car on the way home. I was like, what the fuck just happened? It was like I was on another plane of existence, dude. It was crazy. Okay, let's see. We're gonna loot this, and then I think we're probably gonna wrap up for the day since we've did what we have sought out to do, which was get the Stone of Bibu. And David is almost done making me food. The death of your husband, Sail. He laid down his life in battle, helping retake the Imperial City from the Aldmeri. He showed great courage in his final hour, and his sacrifice will not be in vain. All considered him a man of high moral standing and a shining example of the best the Empire has to offer. In this hour of grief, please take solace in the fact that he gave his life protecting the Empire which he held so dear. Well, that wouldn't give me solace at all, personally. That wouldn't give me shit. Let's see. Nothing I really want there. We got our stone and we got the ghost blade, so I think that's all we need to do with this one. Yeah, I think we're good. Whew. All right, let's get out of here. And I think what we're gonna do actually before we wrap up, the last thing I want to do with this stream is we do have a lot of displays. So let's go to the museum and get our final display count. I think that would be a good way to end things off because we're past 1,000 displays in the museum, which is awesome. That makes me really, really happy. So let's see. Yeah, we got lost a little bit, and we did ragdoll a few times. We made it through, you know. We made it work. All right, let's save just in case, and then we will fast travel over to Solitude. But yeah, I don't think I'll be streaming the week after, but I will be streaming on the last Sunday of the month. I think that's the 31st. Yes, I'll be streaming then. And we're going to do a big stream talking about all the books I read, all the progress I made, all the things I'm watching. Just kind of a good monthly wrap-up, yeah. And of course there will be Skyrim. There's always Skyrim, you know. Okay, let's see. Okay, it did say he's eeping, so maybe we actually have him eep real quick. Just take a little power nap. We'll do one of these moves. There you go. Just a little nappy nap so he doesn't get any more debuffs. We're really pushing him to the limit, but that's okay. Push it to the limit. And then let's have him eat cooked carp, seared slaughterfish. There we go. Okay. Alright, let's head over there. Alright, and I think we only have like 4 stones left to find, actually. I'll have to double check, but we have a lot. We have a lot of stones, now that I think about it. I think it's... yeah, because it's 24 total, right? The stones of Booba? The stones of Barack Obama? The stones of Barry Allen? I don't... oh my god. Loading screen. But as we are waiting for the loading screen, I will use this time to say if you'd like to join the Discord, that is here. It is not a traditional streamer Discord, unfortunately, but if you'd like to be pinged for when I stream, you can do that there, right? I also have a Blue Sky where I post pretty frequently. I post a lot of updates of like my writing and stuff like that. And then if you'd also like to watch the VOD, I do have that on YouTube. So we're not ending just yet, but I figure we're in this loading screen together, so we might as well, you know, I give you soup. I give you links, you know. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know. I actually don't know exactly how many we're gonna have, but we'll see. But yeah, we didn't do any main quest stuff today. I'll need to figure out which main quests I want to do next. I know we had started Dark Brotherhood. Or not main. Like I say main quest, but not like main quest. We still need to become Thane of Every Hold though. Like we're gonna have to set aside the main quest at some point because I know that for Legacy, we do need to become Thane of Every Hold, and I haven't done that yet. I actually don't know what holds I am a Thane of. I don't remember. Genuinely, I don't remember. I know I did Whiterun, but I think I did, oh god, what's the Vermina hold? That one I think I did as well, but I'm not sure. That's the one downside about having big Skyrim is the loading screens. I think we are at over 1,500 mods. That's why I was so worried about coming back to streaming, is like, I think before I'd only had like 700 or something like that, and now we're making my computer work. It's hot in here. But that is okay. That is fun. Right? I do like, I don't know, I don't want to completely like abandon my old model because I do like her a lot. I think she's really cute. But like the tracking on my new model, and this isn't anything, like it's the same rigor and artist for both of them, right? But both of them have just like increased their skills so much. So it's like this model is just like the mouth tracking on this one just it's just so good. It's so fun. Alright, we are gonna lose some frames in the museum because as you can see 1,048 displays. So there's gonna be a little bit of chug here, but that's okay. So let's see. We'll grab everything here. Yeah, not as much as I thought. 633 carry weight. And while that's going, I do want to check stones of Bazinga. How many stones is it? Where is it? What is the quest? Any addition? Oh, we do have to check for the cheese collection. Let's let this go, and then we will absolutely check the cheese. I don't know if we have any new cheese, but we'll definitely find out. Jewelry. This is the past. No, not that one. No. Back with Arian's research. Yeah, I need to do that. I don't know, but we do have a lot. That I do know. I believe we have, well, let's see. I don't think it stops it if I do this. We've got, I wish they were labeled, honestly. Like, I wish they were numbered. Let's see. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We're almost to 20. Not quite, but we're getting there, right? But let's see, while we are waiting for it to sort, we can walk around a little bit. See if there's anything new. Oh yeah, there's the ghost. You know, the ghost that haunts the museum. Every museum has a ghost that haunts it, you know, like a Nick Cage type situation. Oh, this one's cool. I forgot we got this. The Calder Black Bow. Yeah, a lot of these we still don't have filled up yet. This one's almost full though. This one's almost full. And this one we're getting there. The Crusader stuff. We still need a few things here and there. We still need a lot of the masks and the claws. But we're getting there. You know, we're getting there. We're making good progress. Yeah, there's our ghost blade. We just got that just now, really. Right? So it's coming along. Oh, let's see. Hello, sir.
Ah, my friend.
Find out anything.
Ah, my friend. Yes, I have some news for you. The shard you carry does in fact appear to be one from the shattered amulet of kings.
Oh.
I've discovered that the other fragments are quite possibly here in Skyrim.
Huh.
The guardians of the shard believe that the dragon fire could remake the amulet and must be converging here to seek the aid of a dragon.
It's
They may
really
not
quiet
be here
for me.
like this Byron
Turn the
family.
volume up just a little.
Perhaps you should find them to warn them. I would probably advise starting your search at High Hrothgar, as they seem to be a central authority on dragon lore.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of their thing. Okay. Well, that gives us something to do there. Right. Let's see if there's anything. Oh. Sir, you're, okay, 15 new displays. Not bad. Could be better, could be worse. Let's, go upstairs. Hey, Vanya. And let's see what cheese we have. This is more important, actually, than the displays. This is the most important thing. We gotta do our cheese check before we finish up. Alright, let's see. Okay. But yeah, it does chug a little bit when we get to the museum. Just because there's a lot going on in the museum. I don't think we've ever made it. Actually, I know we've never made it this far when I was streaming, because I would get distracted all the time. And most of these displays are from when I was playing on my own. I do a little mining off stream, okay? You know, I do, that does happen from time to time. I apologize. Alright, let's, oh, there we go. Let's save in case it chugged for a second and it freaked me out. Okay, supplies. Okay, and now, let's see. I don't know if we have any new cheese. I mean, sure we have some. Oh, it's dark in here. Let me maybe take a sleep, so that way we can see the cheese room a bit better. But we'll let the supply sorting go, and then we'll reset the cheese room, because if there's new cheese, the cheese is gonna need time to reset. Okay, let's see. Any new cheese? Any new cheese? It looks like there is no new cheese. So let's sleep so we can get a better view of the cheese room. Oh yeah, 19 out of 24. Wait, I did get the one from... Wait, now I'm paranoid about something. Hold on. I got really nervous that maybe I didn't grab the stone here. But let's take a nap real quick. There we go. Just so we can see our cheese better. It's very important. Alright. Cheese time! Yippee! Alright. Cheese, 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 cheese.
I had to get this for you when I saw it. I hope you like it.
I don't know where she is, but thank you, Vanya. What'd she get me? 5 iron ingots? You shouldn't have! Oh. I chugged for a second. My cheese was too powerful. Look at all my cheese. Da, 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 da. I got all the cheesecake. Well, I still need some of the cheesecakes. Cream cheese, cheese sauce, pale cheese, stinking priest cheese, cheese bread. Oh, yeah, baby. Look at all this cheese. Oh, yeah, baby. That's the shit. Hold on, let me... EFC. There we go. Cheese maxing. Now we can see everything. Look at it. There's still a lot we gotta go. There's still much more cheese to find, but I am unironically proud of the cheese collection. It's so fun to look at. Okay, so we are going to wrap up here for today. My throat is starting to hurt, and I'm going to eat dinner soon with my husband. And I think we're at a good stopping point anyway. So let me head over here. Oh right, that was there. Okay, let me do this, and then here we go. But as always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Let me figure out who we're gonna raid. Actually, let me see who's online right now. Let's see, where's just Twitch. No, I want to see Twitch. Okay, hold on, Twitch. Like just the homepage of Twitch, so I can see who's live right now. Let's see. Let's raid Primrose. She's so sweet. She's an angel. We will raid her. She's very, very sweet. So we will raid her. Looks like she's playing something called Sony Komi. I don't know what that is, but we're gonna find out. So, as always, thank you gamers so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna make the raid message. We're gonna do, but keep it simple. You know, keep it EB raid. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's the wrong way to do it. Hold up. Let me type this again. EB raid, and then copy, and then space. There we go. And I think that should be an emote everyone can use, even if you're not subscribed. But like I said before, if you would like to be notified of when I stream or when I do any other things like art or, you know, writing or anything like that, I do have a Discord. I will be posting all of my art on Blue Sky as well. I post snippets there a lot too. And I will also be uploading this VOD to YouTube. So, gamers, thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you next week. Next week we're gonna do our monthly wrap-up stream, and it'll be really fun. We're gonna talk about books, we're gonna talk about Skyrim, we're gonna talk about all sorts of shit. And I will see you then. Alright, bye bye!